All right, so I think the stream thinking about things ready to go though. So hello everybody, ZardX here, back at it again to give y'all another very exciting podcast episode. That being my ZardCast episode 128. And man, oh man, it feels good to be back. I know we've been kicking this can down the road at least a little bit here though, but it does feel good to be back here in the studio recording a new podcast episode and such. And with it being so much time off, we got a lot of stuff to go back through and recap from like almost 3.5 weeks worth of stuff and whatnot though. But Steven, how's it going, man?
It is going good. Been doing a lot of stuff. You know, got a new work situation that I'm kind of still trying to get used to the schedule of. You know, we're doing the podcast on the Thursday now, which is definitely gonna take some getting used to, but I think it's gonna work out.
Yeah, man. I was just about to mention that. Yeah, first episode on a Thursday night instead of the old traditional Sunday nights. It's gonna feel a little different. It's gonna feel a little bit odd though. But I think it should work out. Things are gonna be kind of cool. It does free up the weekend a little bit better though. But no, change is always good. It's always good to have a little bit of change in your lives though. But in terms of everything that we have planned out here, at least for the podcast tonight. Woo, man, you talk about some news galore. Last week, if we would have gone live, there was all of that news and stuff in terms of the pop culture stuff with Disney's D23 and stuff. So, you know, every year when Disney comes out and they say, hey, we got trailer after trailer after trailer, whatever, though. They have a few things that are just like standard Disney movies I'm actually kind of excited about, but mostly the Marvel stuff. Ooh. Man, they were going off. And it didn't stop right there, though, too. They had some gaming-related stuff, too, with Kingdom Hearts 4. So we got to talk about all of that as well. So that's one big segment of the show. But then also we managed to get some smaller topics, some things that we might be able to say, some things here and there. Like Wolverine managed to get, like, some newly announced, like, accessories and stuff, whether it be the controllers, the faceplates for the PS5 and stuff. And the so got some new game drops and stuff. They gave us some good Virtual Boy games and some kind of icky GameCube game, whatever. Then we got some Nintendo financial reports and stuff to talk about as well. Pokemon Bank also shutting down. A little unfortunate about that. And then I already mentioned Kingdom Hearts 4. We had a Nintendo Direct since the last time we happened to air the thing. Yes, it was about Fire Emblem, a theme in Nintendo Direct. So I got some stuff to say about that. Some leaks, potentially, with some Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time related stuff in terms of hardware or console related stuff. I got some thoughts on that. And then lastly, the biggest elephant in the room, the one that everybody and their mom is excited about, and the one that just dropped literally today, probably couldn't have time to podcast any better than tonight, is the whole showcase reveal thing. 30 minutes of footage for Grand Theft Auto 6. So yeah, they're starting to rev up the marketing a little bit more though, and this was their first official like hoorah or whatever though. I mean, it started off on Netflix, now you can watch it on YouTube and stuff at the time that y'all listen to this though. So I got some thoughts to say about that though, and that's pretty much most of the show notes for tonight. So we might as well go ahead and jump up in it though, and let's not dilly-dally any longer up on this mess though. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight up into that pop culture segment. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about a lot of this info and news that we managed to get out of D23. Now, Steven, I know you like some Disney stuff. You might not like all Disney stuff, though. But out of all the stuff that they happen to show, the standard Disney movies, that's not Marvel related, I have to put some respect on my boy Stitch, all right? Me and him go way back. I actually kind of like the live-action remake one that they made, the first one. Gosh, has it been already 3 or 4 years? I don't know how many years it felt like yesterday, but I think it's been about 2 or 3 years. 2 or 3.
It was 2025.
Oh, okay, so yeah, about.
It was last year.
Really? Was it last? I don't know why.
2 or 3 years.
I don't know why. It feels like it. I don't know. My sense of time has been kind of all over the place.
You probably feel like it because it's a remake of a movie that already exists because new ideas don't exist anymore.
Yeah, so I don't know, but I was excited to watch that movie because for the fact that they hadn't touched my boy Stitch since they when they stopped the the TV show way back when on Disney Channel or whatever. Though, and since then, radio silent on his stuff unless you happen to go to the theme park and ride on one of his rides. I bet you they shut that mess down. Anyway, though, I really like that movie. It's just good to be able to see something new, or at least put more limelight on him, even though somehow he still managed to make a decent amount of money with merchandise. How without any kind of related stuff released, I don't know. But anyway, though,
let's not get ahead of ourselves and call it new, okay?
Well, I said new in terms of an adaptation, like it's a new adaptation is what I'm getting at. Not brand new, but it's a new adaptation. That is
to me, I just do not understand the purpose of it. The original, in my opinion, will always be better. It is always going to be more timeless. It's going to look better, how many years into the future. Okay? It's got a more consistent style to it. I do not like how the fucking CGI on some of the aliens look. Stitch looks fine. I'm not talking about Stitch. But like some of the other characters look weird. And then there's like weird story changes about like her actually giving up. Her actually giving up Lilo in the story, and like just a Bubbles just isn't there from what I remember, right?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, they kind of did his character a little weird, but yeah.
No, like just Jesus, the original's always gonna be better.
Yeah, and I'm not knocking what this one is. Obviously, I still like the original. I still like it better. Yeah. But I do like how this one still exists on a different plane. Like, it's just a different way of me being able to enjoy the character in general, or the universe, essentially, though. It's kind of what I'm getting. But it's neither here nor there. It's not so much about that first movie. The news is about the second one. Because when I started really sitting down and thinking about it, Lilo and Stitch, the second movie, the animated one, was like Stitch has a glitch. That's completely different from this promotional material that we're getting with Angel. And Angel only showed up in the TV shows. So this one is going to be more like a very unique kind of spin. Like, they're going to take like a combination of certain elements, but it's going to probably be its own uniquely kind of story with the second movie. So that actually gets me kind of excited, because what we're seeing, the way how they're going to portray or probably show off however the plot points happen in this movie, it's going to be completely unique. Something that we hadn't quite seen yet, and it's going to be kind of different. It's going to go off on the off-beaten path. So that in itself has me kind of excited, though, because I always like Stitch and the interaction that he would have with all of his other cousins and stuff that we saw in the shows, though. Obviously, Angel is usually like his love interest or whatever, though. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Will I see it in the movie theater again? Probably so. I'm excited for it. I can't remember exactly what year that they said they're going to even put this movie out, though. But regardless, to say,
2028.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, if I had to make a guess, 2028, because like they really announced this like really soon after the original, because because money, it made money, simple as that.
Yeah, May 26, 2028.
And that's the only reason why they're doing this. They're just taking a bunch of old ideas that they had and they're remixing them together, and it's just like, I don't know, just make something new. I don't think it can't be that hard, right, to make new ideas. Like, you're already going in and changing so much about the film that it's basically a new film. So just make a new film instead.
I mean, technically, this one is going to be new. It just depends on how many plot points they might pull, and then how many things are going to make unique. This one's going to be completely more so new than obviously the first one, hands down.
I'm sure they're going to pull a bunch. It's like, it's the same thing they did with Lion King, where they did a full-on remake, and then they did the Mufasa one, which is a prequel. I'm like, yeah, it's technically new, but it's like, God, it's just so tied to the original. Like, that Mufasa one, it's like, oh, we got to explain how Pride Rock was formed. It's just like, it's just completely reliant on the audience of the original. Like, like people that seen Lilo and Stitch 2 either were already fans of the original and then went to see the remake and then liked that, or I don't really think kids nowadays are falling in love with these movies, like these live action ones. I feel like it's mostly for like young adults that grew up with the originals. Because now we're entering like 2000s nostalgia, which is fucking weird, honestly. Like, we're eventually gonna get like an Emperor's New Groove, and then everyone's gonna.
Oh, that would be weird if we ever got that. Because I was like, even back then, like we kind of liked it, but I don't think it's like that mainstream. Like, no, not like this.
No, it is. First of all, Emperor's New Groove is an amazing fucking movie. It's so good. But like the fact of the matter is that like like they're gonna run out of ideas. They're just gonna pull more ideas out of the gutter, and eventually just because they need money. But it's not sustainable. Because what are they gonna do after they remake literally everything? Are they gonna remake it again?
No, I mean
we're getting to that point. They're catching up to the 2000s. We just got a remake
I guess
Moana.
the closest, Moana. I was about to mention that. That's the closest one because.
But like, oh my god, by the way, the Moana remake. Fucking bombed terribly at the box office. Okay, it made $308 million worldwide on a $250 million budget. Which might sound good, but then you got to remember you got to basically double it because of marketing.
Yeah, because I don't know in some of those numbers that they always kind of throw out to public knowledge if that includes marketing or if it doesn't. Yeah, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But
this one does not. Like, I'm looking at it right now, it does not. And either way, it's a remake of a movie that grossed $1 billion. The original Moana, I'm pretty sure, grossed $1 billion.
And that's probably the reason why they were chasing it. But
yeah. These remakes and these live action retools, I just don't think they're sustainable. We'll see what they do in the future, but like I'd rather you just make new stuff, Disney. Like, I don't know, make good stuff because like like fucking how many years ago they made Wreck-It Ralph? I loved that, okay? But all these new movies they're making, like A Wish, was
Oh, yeah, new movie they're making. I wasn't a fan of that one. Yeah.
There's that movie Hexed. Have you seen the trailer for Hexed?
No, not really on that one.
It doesn't, I don't know, I don't think it looks good at all, honestly. But like at least for Disney, like the only things, in terms of like actual Disney animation studios, you have Frozen 3, I guess. And like Frozen 3, there's gonna be a Moana 3, a Zootopia 3. But like that's it. It's just remakes.
Yeah.
Everything else, like the only one, I guess Pixar is making unique movies, but still. It's just like everything Disney's been making, like Zootopia 2, fucking Moana 2, Mufasa the Lion King. And then those are made so much more money than Wish ever did. So I just don't know if it's gonna stop. Like, God, I don't know. I personally would not even really care that much if these were animated. If you went in and did like a, remastered with modern animation for Lilo and Stitch, or you made a new Lilo and Stitch movie that was animated, fine. But I don't think Disney knows how to fucking do hand-drawn animation anymore.
Oh no, they don't. That's why they're doing live action.
Yeah, like it's just sad, is what it is.
But yeah, I think outside of that, that's pretty much all I want to say on Lilo and Stitch 2, because it was a tease of all tease. It wasn't like a full trailer, no nothing, because it doesn't come out until 2028. I'm still excited to see exactly where they're going to play out the story, though. But out of all live action related stuff, I only really kind of gravitated towards that one. And if I think way back, maybe it was Aladdin. The Aladdin movie was the only other one that I kind of liked that was live action that was kind of good. Everything else has been kind of a miss, but I don't know. Stitch, my boy, I still like whatever he's pretty much in. But I think that's pretty much it in terms of most of the D23 stuff in terms of the general news, because I know they showed some stuff like when Incredibles 3 and stuff, and all of that stuff kind of looked good. But I don't know. This one's the one that I think I probably gravitated towards the most. All right, but with all of that said, that's going to do it in terms of the general pop culture stuff. But now, let's go ahead and switch on over to the Marvel news. All right, it's Steven. So, there was a few different projects that Marvel came out here and said that I was like, all right, you know, it's time to buckle up and it's time to buckle down because Disney they weren't playing around no more with some of these things though. We'll start with the show and then work our way over to the trailer and then the newly announced movie and such though. But one of the things that they happen to bring forward was a series that's going to be called Vision Quest. This one was kind of weird because I knew it was coming for a long time, along with like some other ones that happened to get canceled or shelved or whatever though. But I knew this one was coming, and it was kind of interesting to actually see a trailer for this thing actually play out because if you know, I guess the synopsis or the story that's been happening with Vision and stuff. So if you saw obviously the stuff that happened in Infinity War / Endgame, and then those events led into what was WandaVision, which honestly I just sat down and rewatched that whole series again. Pretty good series, pretty good series.
So yeah, so from I don't know, I didn't really watch the entirety of WandaVision, but I've seen my fair share of synopses. From I don't know, from what I've seen, like technically Vision is kind of back. Like he's got his memories, and he's got like a new body or whatever, or like they modified his body, but he's
Basically.
basically back.
Yeah, so they call them like white vision or whatever though. So in order to kind of understand or at least have a solid foothold for this, if you know obviously what happened with Infinity War / Endgame, really mostly just Infinity War just for this sake. And then obviously
Yeah,
WandaVision and a tiny bit. I don't know how much they're going to pull from Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness because Wanda was in that movie. But between that, basically from WandaVision to the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness to this, it's kind of like the trifecta of basically anything that might have been entailed or around Vision's circle or whatever though. So it kind of all plays out to this. And I'm kind of curious to see how his character is going to get played out, what kind of threat is going to wind up popping up in there cuz that first half of the trailer was kind of weird. I ain't going to lie. I didn't know exactly where they were going with the plot points though, but then once you get on the second half of it and it started hitting you with those action sequences, I was like, "Okay." But obviously since Vision's kind of like an unknown or he's trying to figure out like truly who he is again cuz it's like the memories of what was Vision in a body that's almost kind of soulless that doesn't have all of that, and they're trying to mash the two together. It's gonna be kind of interesting to see how all of this stuff plays out, though. But it does come out in the month of October, so we don't have to wait too much longer on this, and we'll be able to sit down and watch it all before Endgame ever happens to be a thing. So if they want to throw Vision back up in that thing, they'll find their avenue to do it. But outside
I
of
think
that, I don't have too much more to say. But what were you about to say?
I was just say I think the series is 100% gonna end with Wanda returning in some way.
Oh, probably
First
for
of all,
sure. If you know what happened at the end of the Doctor Strange movie, but yeah,
yeah. Well, no. The end of the Doctor Strange movie kind of implies that she's like sacrificing herself. Like not even sacrificing, but like you know, she's going down with the ship. But like I don't see any way that she's dying from that. Like I don't know. It's just it was a
yeah,
building crumbling down. I don't see. I just don't see how she dies from this. But like either way, I know in that weird Agatha show, like one of her kids is like real. Like one of her imaginary
yeah,
kids like possesses someone else's body because like it was like such a real memory that it like manifested. And from what I heard, the Vision show is gonna have the other kid in it.
yeah, something like that as well. So it's like I
S-
guess they're
The
in a weird roundabout way. Even though Wanda, through all of her trauma and stuff, went through a lot of post traumatic stress or whatever, though. But I guess our powers were strong enough to create like mental identities, mental souls,
uh,
and they were
it's
able to actually inherit actual people or inanimate bodies or whatever. It's kind of crazy.
it's funny because her whole kill spree in Multiverse of Madness meant nothing. Her family became real anyways.
Yeah, so I don't know. Story's been kind of all over the place though, but some
Well,
people eat
it
this
was
mess
not
up
thought
though.
out. It was not thought out. Okay,
Yeah,
like the Agatha show and Vision all came after, and honestly, they probably should have like came out way before, so like Sam Raimi could have like actually had a fucking plan for Doctor Strange too. But that's besides the point. Either way, uh, I really am excited to see Ultron again, played by James Spader. James Spader, he just has like this charisma. and like this way that he delivers his lines that is like really entertaining to watch for me.
And it was
Which
kind of interesting seeing him talk without the the modified voice that makes him
I
sound
like
metallic and
it.
stuff. It was kind of it threw me off for a second. I was like, oh yeah, that is him.
I personally like. I think he sounds more intimidating that way. I think the robotic voice is a little too tacky. Like
I
I
don't know.
think
I
he
really
sounds
liked it.
more.
I don't know.
Well, especially because I don't know. Jarvis kind of has a filter, but like not really. Like it's not nearly as like filtered as Ultron's voice was. Like I like Ultron really just sounding like a guy because it's like, this guy that hates life is basically a human, which I don't really know what's gonna happen with Ultron in this show. I don't know if he's gonna like, because I know he's like inside of Vision's mind. He's been like trapped inside of Vision's mind because I guess Vision couldn't bear the thought of completely getting rid of him, or he just found a way to hijack Vision's like subconscious. I don't know if it's gonna lead to him getting out. I don't know if it's gonna lead to him like being a villain and being actually truly finished off by the end of the series. I don't know if it's gonna lead to him like just being good after this. We'll see. Because you know, Ultron. I wonder what he's gonna think about Tony Stark dying. As another thing, like his creator and dying might affect him. Who knows?
Yeah.
There's a lot of interesting things you could do with the concept. And it's fine. I haven't even mentioned Vision himself. Like the show looks interesting from what I see. It's just him like trying to figure out what he's doing. Like like what's my next step type of deal. I don't know. It's the type of show that like I'm actually maybe interested in watching. Out of all of these Marvel shows, I'm somewhat interested in this one.
Really now, out of all of them, maybe it's because all the
Yeah.
Ultron weight, but
I looked at
okay.
the synopsis just to make sure. It follows Vision as he attempts to understand who he is by communicating with AI personas embedded in his programming. And then he goes on the run with a mysterious teenager who may be his reincarnated son. So, like, obviously he's on the run because he was like government technology. Like the
Yeah.
government confiscated him and like weaponized him, and he's leaving. He's out of there. It's very interesting. I don't know. I'm also looking at the Ultron thing. Ultron has lived within the mind of his creation Vision, where he has access to the internet. Yeah, he has access to the internet and spends his time painting. The interactions between Vision and Ultron are a central dynamic for the series. We're stating that the two characters have a sort of father-son therapist psychopath relationship, which I don't know. I think is a little interesting.
Hmm.
Where like Ultron obviously has mellowed out a bit. Like he was all like gonna kill everybody, and obviously his plan didn't work. And he has that little conversation with Vision at the end of Age of Ultron,
Oh yeah,
and then
before
he,
he like just smashes them or does whatever to
yeah,
that last robot. Yeah.
yeah, and like even in I was gonna say I've seen a couple clips, even in the What If show. Like there's like the one episode where like Ultron actually wins and all that. And like he gets rid of everything and he's like, oh, I got nothing to do now. I got no purpose now. And like from what I've seen and like looking at stuff, like he Ultron eventually like becomes good and like helps out the heroes in that show to like atone for like what he did. So like Ultron certainly has the capacity to like be good or at least be like or not be a complete maniac that's killing people constantly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's an interesting direction because Ultron in Age of Ultron didn't really feel all that intimidating. He's like cracking jokes the entire time. He's basically just evil Tony Stark, which wasn't really that interesting. So I kind of want them to do something more interesting with him, even if he's just like this, this like evil, this voice inside of Vision's head, just being an asshole. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I think they'll get some pretty interesting dynamics with it because they are going to play a bunch of mind games since the vision isn't quite 100% there. So there's going to be definitely some internal stuff, and I think that's the reason why they're bringing back Ultron, or at least
Yeah,
his
I'm
actor or whatever. But yeah.
there's a lot that they can do, and I really hope it's good because Marvel's slowing down on the shows finally, and I don't want the MCU to do bad, but like they just got themselves in such a big hole. I don't see any way to get out of it.
Yeah, so we'll see how this one plays out. I do have faith that this one's going to be good, and I'm still going through and like rewatching all of the stuff, trying to get myself back up to Doomsday. Because like right now, I went back and watched Black Widow, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings movie wise, and show wise. I just wrapped up WandaVision. I need to start up Falcon and the Winter Soldier next, and I need to sit down and watch at least the first general X-Men movie or whatever, because I know I gotta at least watch the first two to get some plot points for that. So that's kind of where I'm at. So I'll keep updating y'all as we keep having these podcasts, how far I keep going back through the MCU. But overall, I'm looking forward to it. I think there's some good stuff. So that was like announcement number one, and then secondly, oh man, they went ahead and announced it. Yes, we're having an X-Men movie within the MCU officially and finally. Not like no pseudo thing with like Deadpool and Wolverine, and not a cameo here or there in some kind of movie though. I'll leave it at that. But yes, no, a full on Marvel Studio MCU project with the X-Men. That's going to be like one of the very first few movies that will be coming out shortly after what will be the events that transpire in Secret Wars. So now we pretty much got all three of the movies confirmed that will be coming out, and I believe that would be year 2028.
Maybe it's Ghost Rider, Black Panther 3, and X-Men.
Yep. So Ghost Rider's that July spot. X-Men is in the May spot. And in December, that's when Black Panther 3 will come out.
Which is really interesting that Ghost Rider is our first movie post Secret Wars.
No, X-Men is. X-Men's coming in May. Ghost Rider's July.
Yeah, okay. Then that makes like a lot of sense because I'm assuming it's gonna be the Mutant Saga. I don't know. Like, if all of our core heroes truly are gonna take a backseat and a new generation of heroes is rising, that's gonna, it's not a reboot per se. Like Spider-Man.
It's like a soft reboot, basically. It's kind of what we're running into.
A soft reboot.
Because there's going to be some parallels that will still reference everything that would have happened in the Multiverse Saga or very lightly in the Infinity Saga. Obviously, because when you have a movie that's Black Panther 3, you can't just leave all of that stuff in the past. So there's going to be some pulls, but probably not as heavy as what they really would need to, and try to keep it as light as possible. I think that's kind of the direction they're heading towards.
We need to bring things back down a notch. Like, I'm fine with characters like Doctor Strange getting continuations, Black Panther, fine. But like, stuff like they expanded way too much in Phase 4 and 5. Like Ironheart, no reason to exist. Eternals, no reason to exist. Like, shit like that. Like, what are you doing? She-Hulk, get the fuck out of here. Even like Miss Marvel and the Marvels, like really they don't serve too much of a purpose. Like they don't and in the grand scheme of things, maybe one tiny little piece of them will matter in the grand scheme, but like nothing interesting. Like I don't know. Say what you want about the modern MCU. Brave New World, Avengers Endgame basically goes straight into Captain America 4. Captain America 4 basically goes straight into Thunderbolts, and then Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four are going into Doomsday. Like it's been pretty consistent the last few years at least.
Yeah. So I'm hoping with this one, it's going to be everything that the fans have always wanted, because I really wanted to see exactly how the MCU side of the things will actually treat the mutants. Well, besides what we got with Deadpool and Wolverine or whatever, those like legitimately like the full-fledged team of mutants or whatever. I'm kind of curious to see how it's going to be portrayed. Obviously, there's different casting and stuff. You can look at all of the stuff out there from the D23 footage. Like almost everybody got and it's unfortunate for some people that hadn't seen certain things yet. If you happen to see that before seeing other things, I'll just leave it at that. But there's your other little parallel.
The casting is public. We could talk about the casting
No,
without
no, no.
saying
I know.
anything
I'm
else.
talking about one of the spoilers that would be associated
Well,
with the
I can
casting.
say
I'm
the
not
I
saying
can
that
say
part,
that.
but yeah.
Okay, I'm not saying the spoiler. I'm just saying the character. Is that fine?
Technically,
That's
the
all.
character for some people would be the spoiler, and I
Okay.
usually don't say nothing
Okay,
because
fine.
they did pretty good about not showing nothing all the way through all these trailers, and then
It
you saw
was
that, and then I was
very.
like, oh dang.
It was basically all but confirmed, but fine. That's fine. The only ones that I'll say are highlights for me is Indy Navarrete as Rogue, or I don't know why I said a weird. Rogue. Like Rogue, she like absorbs people's powers.
Uh huh.
She's definitely one of the more interesting ones to me. She's played by Indy Navarrete. I don't know if you know who that is. There's that movie that came out recently called Obsession. It's like a bit of like a horror movie, kind of like a horror movie, but like a thriller
Hmm.
about. I'm sure you've like at least heard about like it doing really well. It was like a movie made on a very small budget that made hundreds of millions. And it's actually a pretty good movie from what I heard. It's pretty goddamn scary. But the performances in it are like really good. And she's kind of like an up and coming actor.
No, I don't think I heard
So
about that one.
yeah, no, it's pretty good. I don't really know if it's the type of movie that you'd like, but I've heard a lot of good things about it. And then Adam Driver, who he's in the new Star Wars movies as Kylo Ren, and he's the highlight of those Star Wars movies, the sequel trilogy. He's playing the villain of the movie, Mr. Sinister.
Hmm.
And he's a good actor. I like him. And he's the only good part of Star Wars, and then other stuff he's pretty good.
Okay.
So like well, I don't know. Like besides that, a lot of the other cast members aren't really that big. Like I don't really Professor X technically got cast. I think it was Cyclops. Uh, it was Cyclops, Mister Sinister, Professor X, one that I can't say, Storm, and there was somebody else, but the name is escaping me. But we're starting off with like a team of only like five of them, and
I think
one
that's a good
character.
balance. That's good.
Yeah, one
Ma-
character already established, so really only four new characters, hopefully. Which
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy was able to handle like five characters all being established in one movie. Like I think it's good. I think it's handleable.
Yep. As long as
If
it ain't
if
like
you just
Eternals when you throw in. That's crazy throwing in
Eternals was
10.
10.
That was
Eternals was 10,
ridiculous.
and it was a bunch of new lore building. This, you don't have to do any stupid fucking lore building.
At
Guardians of the
least,
Galaxy,
yeah.
it wasn't about that. Eternals had to explain, like, why they weren't there when Thanos happened, this and that. The problem was them trying to, like, retcon the Eternals into the MCU. This is like, no. The X-Men are very clearly a new thing in this universe.
Yeah.
The
So,
result of why they're coming out now of all times, we don't know. That's the only thing the movie
they'll
would
have
have
a
to
reason
explain.
or something to explain it though. But I
Yeah,
think
there
there's
will
a lot of
definitely be a
promise.
reason.
There's gonna be a lot of
There,
promise with this movie. I know there's gonna be a lot of eyes on it to see exactly how they portray, show these characters off. Because a lot of people are attached to these characters, whether it be previous adaptations, stuff in the comics, etc. Though, or even classic TV shows or cartoons, basically. So yeah, so hopefully the new actors they'll do good within these roles, portray all the characters right, and we'll see exactly how well these X-Men can kind of blend in over into the MCU as we know it right now, and basically bringing into what would be the third new era. I don't know what this era is going to be called because like what we had the Infinity, now we had the multiverse, so I don't know what this next one will be called, but we will see.
it will probably be the Mutant Saga.
It's kind of interesting if you would just call it the Mutant Saga when you know
I
you're gonna
think it's
have
a
other
sound name.
stuff when you know you're gonna have other heroes that aren't necessarily gonna be mutants. So I'm like, unless the the
Uh,
only reason why they will also call that would be whoever happens to be your Thanos or your Doctor Doom level threat is happen to be a mutant as well. That would be the only other reason why you would call it
I'm,
that. But I
I'm
don't
trying to
know.
think who's even. I'm trying to think who's even left. Honestly, like that, like big Marvel villains that they could pull out. Like technically, Galactus is still around. He could come back. I think the Fantastic Four are here to stay. I think some kind of event is going to cause the Fantastic Four to just be in our universe now. I
Yeah.
don't think I personally still don't believe Doctor Doom's going away. after
Oh no,
Doomsday.
he's going away. I'm sorry. You might
I
as well
or
pack
like
it up.
well, even if he's like majorly
They could,
depowered or
unless
this
they
or
showed him
that,
as like a tiny cameo. Like you don't bring somebody as a Avenger level threat. I mean, you might get some like word of mouth or whatever though, or something like that from the other heroes. But unless it was like a brief flashback scene, I don't think it's like them saying, "Hey, here's Thanos again." Unless they did something stupid or
yeah,
crazy within Secret Wars or something. But outside of that, no.
yeah. Out of what we know, I don't know. There's also the fact that there's really no mention of Wolverine yet. Like I'm sure they'll either bring Wolverine and Deadpool into this new timeline, or they'll figure something out.
Yeah, that would be the
And
only
now
other
that
one. Yeah, because you got
and
to
now
have
that
Wolverine.
and now that Hulk is like back for real, I could see a Hulk movie or like some kind of Hulk with someone
I would
else
no,
movie.
don't even give me hope. Like now we're really spitballing and going way
I
longer
just,
than probably what I was intended on for this
all
one
right,
little
well,
spotlight.
because
But
we're
because of the
we're
Hulk
making
stuff
up for
being
no
owned
news.
by Universe or not Universe, Universal, that's the main reason why that's always getting held up. 'Cause that's why he's always in team up movies rather than his
I
own
guess.
thing. Until they get that mess cleared out, which I mean, they bought Fox to get X-Men, and they worked it out with Sony to do Spider-Man, and they still can't ever figure nothing out with the Hulk. Kind of sad, but
There's a ton of stuff they can do. Like this movie's not even gonna X-Men movie's not even gonna have Magneto most likely. Like at least not that we know of yet. So Magneto is still like MIA. Technically in the comics, Namor is a mutant, I'm pretty sure. And he's, Black Panther 3 can kind of line up with that a little bit. Miss Marvel is a mutant technically in the new show. And then they haven't even done Wolverine yet. So yeah, I think they definitely can pull together enough stuff to do a mutant saga if they really want to. They just have to put their all into it again. And the movie hopefully is going to be good. I don't know. We really don't know that much yet. They just finished casting recently. Like they announced this basically hot off the press.
yeah, yeah. So overall, good news, good solid news. Disney was still hitting with the bangers. So that's all I wanted to say on the X-Men related stuff. And the very last thing that they hit us with, at least all the MCU stuff, they gave us another good look at Avengers Doomsday with another new trailer. I didn't think we were going to get hit with this new trailer this close from coming off of Comic Con. I wasn't necessarily expecting it. I was expecting it maybe later, like in the month of October or something, like just a couple of months before the movie would come out. But nah, they said, here we go. I think I vibe with this trailer a lot better than the first one that we managed to get. To be honest, though, maybe it's because it kind of centered around Doom or kind of showed him off in a little better limelight or something. But I felt like his threat or his promising threat or his, grandiose appearance, it had a greater effect within this trailer than it did in the first one. Whereas the first one, I guess, might have been focused more on the heroes or whatever, though. This one, you got to see the more antagonizing threat. And the reason why, Doctor Doom is the way how he is. Look, they kind of tease his backstory a tiny bit up in the trailer, but also his power and his threat and what he can actually kind of control, what he can actually do to the Avengers. So from that regard, I was like, okay, I'm really starting to feel it now. Some people hadn't been quite feeling it just as much, but I was like, at that point, I was like, oh yeah, here we go, here we go.
I don't know, my problem is that they're hardly showing Doom. Like Infinity War is all about Thanos. Like he gets tons of development in that movie. He was being constantly teased, and the Infinity Stones were constantly showing up. But that movie really does a good job at making Thanos believable. Not necessarily sympathetic, like he still kills billions, but believable. Like I could see why he feels like he needs to do that. Doctor Doom, like I guess it's implied that he lost everything. If we're just going by the first couple lines of the trailer, like he was a good guy, and then he lost everything, and now he's on like this warpath, and wants to fucking recreate, rewrite everything.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to, there's the one line like you have all lived stolen lives. Basically, because I'm assuming it's referring to what they did in Endgame, like rewriting shit. Captain America going and living in another timeline, Loki escaping and causing the events of Loki. Like all of that stuff that wasn't supposed to happen happened. I probably messed with him. I don't know. From what we know about Doomsday, it's going to kind of involve incursions. So something bad probably happened involving that.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of stuff. It seems like this movie's actually taking advantage of the goddamn multiverse in the multiverse saga.
I
Even
mean, it
just a
has
little
to
bit.
be because it
I
it
don't.
started off
Yeah,
with that.
and
I'm
they
just
forgot
hoping that
about it.
with the Russo brothers, the way how they kind of write out the rest of this movie, the way, because obviously you can kind of tell. Obviously, we all know the way how this should have been, the Kane Dynasty movie instead of Doomsday or whatever. Though, so hopefully they kind of tied up any loose ends, and they'll make it kind of pretty clear and evident that okay, even though it was supposed to go this way, we managed to make it work with what we got, kind of ordeal though. Because obviously some movies kind of cancel each other out or whatever though, because it was thinking there was going to be a different antagonist or whatever though. So I'm kind of curious the way how they'll write this character in and show why he just happens to pop up, or the reason why we ought to respect whatever he's able to kind of do or accomplish, or the reason why he's going to be a big threat. I understand it because just Doom as a character or whatever though, from the stuff I've been digging around and researching though, but at least make it make sense in our current MCU stuff, which obviously is not always going to be one to one the way how the comics or some of the shows play out or whatnot, though. So I don't know. I'm very intrigued. I like what I saw in that trailer. I really don't have to see much more because obviously we'll be there day one in movie theaters, though. But I think that might be all I have to say on this thing right now.
Listen, this trailer certainly was better than the first one. That first one, I genuinely don't know what they were thinking. Like, it just had no sauce in it whatsoever. This one at least shows Doom a lot more. Shows him, like, activating the Sentinels, which is a pretty cool shot. But, like, fact of the matter is, I still don't really know how they're gonna, like, set up all of this stuff and have all of these characters in this one movie. The difference with Infinity War is that those were all characters that had a decent amount of screen time and development, and they all had something important to do. I don't know. I just don't like. I don't exactly know how the story is going to be laid out yet. They're being very secretive about everything involving this movie. Kind of doing what they did with Endgame, honestly. I'm sure we'll get one final trailer that will reveal something. Like, technically, Spider-Man's supposed to be in this movie. We don't know anything about him. We haven't seen anything of him in the movie yet. I don't know.
Yeah,
I hope.
that might be one card that they hold close to their chest and just be like, well, it is what it is. You'll see him in the theater.
Yeah,
So
Brand New Day did just come out. I'm sure they don't want to show him in
that's
like.
probably one of the other reasons why they're like, yeah, just cut him out from any of the promotional trailers or whatever. No, like let that movie still sit in the theater and do what it got to do. But yeah,
Yeah, I hope it's good. Trust me, I like the MCU. It's more entertaining to me than most other like cinematic universes. Trust me. Even the new one that DC is trying to do kind of is already getting every project canceled and like crashing and burning in on itself.
hey, it
Like
never can
yeah,
support it.
the
So
the Superman sequel is looking to be pretty good, but Supergirl fucking bombed majorly, and they're canceling a bunch of the shows they announced.
well,
Either way, like MCU is certainly in a better spot than they have been in like however long.
oh yeah, for sure, for sure. But yeah, outside of that, I think that's gonna basically do it for pretty much everything Marvel related and also everything pop culture related stuff. Though I know other D23 news happened to pop out with the Kingdom Hearts stuff, but we're saving that later for like one of the main mission topics though. But yeah, so that's gonna basically do it for that. And without any further ado, we're gonna go ahead and jump over to the next major segment of the show, that being what we've been playing. I'm still in a dream, Alrighty, Steven. I don't know about you, but personally, I'm looking over here at my Switch 2 and I'm like, I don't think I've been playing nearly as much as I normally have. Even this gap between episodes, between the last episode and this one, it's been a little bit longer. It hasn't been like the traditional 2 weeks. It's been like 3 and almost a half or something like that, though. And I felt like I hadn't really been playing too much. Well, maybe a little bit more Splatoon Raiders because I did manage to beat the game. Hadn't really delved too much into what would be like the post game for it though. But I think outside of that and just an occasional Splatoon match, I hadn't really been gaming as much. I feel like I've been watching a little bit more anime. But what about you, man?
At least for me, I have been dabbling with a couple things, like playing a decent amount of Fortnite because the new season came out. There's a bunch of gaming stuff. It's basically a gaming focused season. They have Crash in there. Spyro as a little sidekick you can have. A bunch of Sonic stuff. Sonic, Shadow, Knuckles, Eggman playable. Sonic items to use. So like there's a decent amount of Sonic stuff, but like they're adding Sora later in the season. Crash Bandicoot, I already said, but Pac-Man, Joker from Persona 5. They're adding a lot of gaming stuff to Fortnite in the next couple weeks. So I'm gonna be responsible and try not to drain my bank account on it.
Try not. How about you say I will not drain my bank account? Ain't that
Listen,
important?
there's a very real chance that FNAF fucking comes to the game. Okay, if, the Five Nights at Freddy's like Twitter account has been teasing a collab, and Fortnite has also been teasing a collab with Five Nights at Freddy's. Nothing's confirmed yet, but if FNAF collabs with Fortnite, I'm gonna have to buy all of it.
There's no
It's an
have to.
unspoken thing.
You
It is
just
an
turn a
unspoken.
blind
It's like how
eye.
it's like how you have to buy every Marvel thing in sight, and you have to see everything
I
from the
don't
Marvel
buy
thing.
every Marvel
I have
thing
to.
in sight. Otherwise,
Okay,
I'll be
well,
buying the Funko
yeah,
Pops. I don't do that
you
mess.
know what I mean. Like when you see every MCU thing, I gotta get every FNAF thing. Sometimes we just have that one thing where we just have to consume it no matter what. And FNAF for me, it's FNAF. But either way, besides Fortnite, I gotta admit, I have not been playing that much. I think I did a replay of Mario 64. I gotta admit, I got an 8-bit. I got one of those 8-bit Dough controllers, one of the new ones, and I messed around with that for a bit. It's a really nice controller. I was playing some SNES games with it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've been going back to Mega Man because I guess like I kind of got there was a trailer for Mega Man Dual Override in Gamescom, so I been playing Mega Man games recently. Mega Man's a great franchise. It's a little on the difficult side, but I really love it. But like I haven't really been playing anything new during the month of August, if that's what you mean.
Okay. Yeah, no, y'all was kind of in the same
Oh,
boat
I
as me.
guess. Wait, there's one thing. I was forced by one of our dear friends, Sanicu, to play like 3 or 4 hours of Fire Emblem Engage.
Rest
Okay?
your soul.
Bless my soul.
No,
I'm
I said
genuinely
rest your
considering
soul
rest my
because you're
soul.
about to
Yes, I wish I
RIP.
could. I genuinely wanted to trade the game in the GameStop. I genuinely just wanted to
Now,
get rid of it.
you know you're better than that.
I'm better than that. Yes, I'm better than that. I can burn it, and then no trace of it will ever get into someone's hands again.
Oh, hold up
It
here.
is genuinely no Fire Emblem Engage is genuinely one of the worst games I've ever played. The story is just unbearable. I can't even listen to it if I tried, and even if I skip it, it takes so long to skip through every single cutscene. Like it's such a slog, man. And then the gameplay isn't even the gameplay's good and all, but I can't get invested in any of my troops because they all are so annoying. The story is so terrible, and then like the designs are also awful. Like the visuals are okay in the game, but all the character designs are so goddamn generic. It's just a game I can't vibe with at all. We'll talk about it later. Fortune's Weave is already a game that I'm way more interested in. There's no reason for me to play any more of Engage now. I wish I never bought it.
Golly. Well, while you're over there antagonizing yourself, I feel pretty good now that I've just been mostly playing a little bit of Splatoon here or there, though, because, like, my goodness, I couldn't
Well,
pull exactly what you did. Whew.
okay, well, I've been enjoying myself still. I've still been enjoying playing games, but yeah.
No, yeah, I hear you. But yeah, no, it's kind of weird because I mean, I even picked up a new game, Marvel Tokon Fighters. I just never had the energy or the time to really sit down and actually like bust that game wide open. Like it's sitting in my sitting over there in that PS5 case on the ground over there to my right, and I'm like, eventually one day I'll crack the seal up on you. I know I wanted to have the game because I like collecting all pretty much any Marvel game, or at least now for the limited time I have, because a lot of them come over to PS5, and I like to get them all physical. But now that's about to be out the wayside. But story for another day. But I like collecting Marvel games when I can get them or whatever though. So eventually I'll try to sink my hands up or sink my teeth up in that. But besides that, honestly, that's about it. That's about it for what we've been playing. So we're gonna keep the show on and rolling to the next major thing. That's gonna be so about all of these subquests. Alrighty, Steven. Well, Sony was like, y'all forget y'all. We're still going to do business as usual, Because they did manage to come out and say, which honestly, I did not expect this because I felt like they would have showed this off in the Wolverine State of Play a handful of weeks ago or whatever, though. But they decided recently to announce this now. They are doing limited edition bundles for the PS5 with different plate covers as well as DualSense controllers. So you can go with the battle ready like yellow version, or you can go with the adamantium like silver color or whatever though. And they have plate covers for basically the standard PS5 and the PS5 Pro. And obviously, if you got the original PS5 like me and you, Steven, you're tough out of luck if you want plate covers. They ain't making those for those models anymore. It's always the digital edition ones now. So, me and my infinite wisdom and glory, I was like, you know what? I'm getting that battle yellow one. I said, forget it. I told myself good and well, look, you don't need to be buying no more PS5 controllers. As I'm looking over here to my right, I already have the basic white one that came out with the system. I have the Starlight Blue, which is the same face color, same face cover plates that I got on my PS5 right now. I have that one. I have the Astrobot one. I had the Spider-Man 2 one. I recently, whenever the game first came out, managed to pick up the controller for GoldenEye 007 First Light. Got that one. I told myself that really needed to be the last one. And then now I was like, nope, forget it. And I also forgot about one other one. The one that was the I don't know exactly what they call it, but the one that transitions from like black to a light blue. I got that one. So that was 6.
Yeah.
And then now
I get
this
you.
one with with the whole Wolverine thing. So that's gonna be like my 7th different DualSense. So many now. It's like, all right, I got them on like a little case prop thing that I usually hold all my controllers on. I really need to get a third one of those things because I just got that many between all my systems now. But I like collecting controllers. I really do. But it really needs to be my last one. So dang it, Sony, don't be making no more. I think the only other thing that really could get me to get another one is if they made a Venom game.
God of War
And
one.
No, I wouldn't care about that. It had to be something I care about. Which so far has been anything Insomniac put out. Oh, I forgot about Ghost of Yote. Yes, I bought one for that too. 8 different ones. Good night.
Yeah.
But yeah, it has to be something either from Sucker Punch, Insomniac, or the people that make Astrobot. Those are the only 3 studios I usually care about, really. So unless they did something like a Ratchet and Clank, whatever happened to be them, I'd be like, ah, dang it. But that's kind of where I'm at with my PS5 related accessories.
At least for me, I could not give even the slight. I'm sorry, I could not give even the slightest care about the possibility of giving Sony money. Like, first of all, I can't even buy the faceplates even if I wanted to. But like the fact they charge so much is crazy. Like, no, thank you. Okay. Second of all, like the controller is like cool and all, but these controllers are so goddamn expensive.
They are expensive.
Yeah, I don't know.
but they're good
And
controllers.
they hardly ever change like the color of the buttons.
I
Don't like.
I like the
Sometimes I've
color
seen
scheming.
it.
I'm not a super fan of like the color of the buttons unless they're like changing the accents of like I guess like what's the color of the actual triangle symbol or the circle
Well,
or the
okay.
cross or whatever though.
Well,
I mean
the
maybe that.
Wolverine. The Wolverine controller does change the colors of the
And I'm fine with
actual,
that. I like that.
like the colors of the X and all that, like the shapes. I just personally wish they would change the buttons to be like a different color in general would be nice. Like make them like yellow buttons or something wacky. Because the controller, it's like okay, it's yellow and black and it's got some claw marks
Black
in
and
it.
yellow, black
I
and
just
yellow, black and yellow,
I
black
don't
and
I
yellow.
don't I don't think it's really an appealing design for a controller personally. But like yeah, $85. I just there's no reason to give Sony money. Like look at this physical products that they're selling. Isn't that ironic?
Yeah.
You can't sell a digital controller, Sony, can you? Or you could fucking try. Give me a license to my controller. They'll
Whoa,
come
whoa,
to
whoa!
my house
Watch
and
what you're saying now. Watch what you're saying. There's some
what?
patents out there.
What?
There's some patents.
Yeah, that's a problem. I don't need to watch what I'm saying. Fuck
No,
them.
I'm just saying you're gonna jinx it for the people that do care. Anyway,
Yeah, I don't know. It's okay though. Like I'm glad that they have a lot of customization. I just think the prices are absurd.
yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say on that. Not too much more. Obviously, if you wanted the yellow version, I think you can get it pretty much at any retailer. Whereas that adamantium version one, I think it was only through PlayStation Direct, at least here in the United States. A little different if you're in a different country or region or whatever, though. But yeah, I just want to kind of throw my little 2 cents just on that little bit right there. All right, so with that said, move over to the next thing. We did manage to get some updates for NSO if you happen to be an expansion pack member. We got a couple of games that got brought over to the Virtual Boy with Zero Hoppers and what was the other one? And Zero Racers. I meant Zero Racers and D Hopper. I was about to fuse them together. And you know what? That's pretty cool being able to get some Virtual Boy games and stuff that has never ever seen the light of day. Like they're basically all in all brand new games. And it's always something kind of interesting about seeing like unreleased games. They actually get official games now that they're actually out there in the wild now. So it's like, oh, okay, so you can, relive a new experience through the lens of what would be like retro glasses. It's kind of hard to describe, but it's kind of like that same effect when Star Fox 2 happened to come out back in the day when people were buying those SNES classics. But yeah, I kind of like that.
I still haven't cared enough to buy this thing because I kind of just wish I could do it in TV mode, even if I don't have the 3D. Like some of those games, you don't need the 3D, but like whatever. But yeah, I'm not gonna buy that little device just to play it in handheld mode. But like unreleased games releasing is always cool. And what I heard, Zero Racers is kind of a pile of shit, but D Hopper's pretty good.
Yeah, I need to sit down and fire it back up at some point. Yeah, since I'm already in the gaming funky mood anyway, might as well play with some funky games.
I think D Hopper is like Square Enix or something.
Now though,
is it out? It's either it may be Atlas. Oh, I'm trying to look.
Yeah, because the Atlas one.
That's Jack Bros. That's
Jack
something
Bros.
else.
Yeah, that's that one.
It is Intelligent Systems, is what it is.
Yep, and Intelligent Systems, for those that know, your people that make
Paper Mario, Fire Emblem. Yeah. Yep. Which is cool, and it seems like one of the more interesting concepts for the Virtual Boy. Either way, if I ever did get it, I would most likely try that game. They did add, apparently, from what I've seen, color options. At least a couple. I don't know.
Oh yeah, now, that's what I was waiting on. Yes, because like that red be kind of tripping you out half the time, but I feel like just a nice, pleasant white. I think that might
just black and white.
Yeah, that might ease the eyes just a little bit. Not as
or
much.
Or even blue. Blue is definitely a better color to be constantly looking at. Either way, good update. I don't know. It's like Virtual Boy was always such a wacky pick for them to even do in the first place.
Well, I love them for it because they're dedicated to the bit of we're going to give you every little bit. Unless the only super weird one for them to do would be like was it the like the N64 DD drive and the Satellaview or whatever that thing
I think
was.
well, okay, so
Those are gonna be
Teleview would actually
those are gonna be like
be really cool.
super weird ones if they do either one of those two.
So Teleview would be the coolest because, like, yeah, some of those games have been data mined and like dumped online, but not all of them. Like
Yeah,
some of
so
them, you just cannot play anymore. There are no official ways to play any of those games. For all intents and purposes, they are locked in Nintendo's little vault.
yep. So I don't know. Maybe one of these days we'll see that though. But outside of that, no, I'm glad because the Virtual Boy doesn't have a really big library at the end of the day, so it shouldn't take them too much longer. They should have everything wrapped up by the end of the year. But yeah, good stuff right there. The only other thing that happened to drop out was a boy wearing some blue overalls, a red cap, and a flood thing on his back. All right. Next up on the list, we got I think we got some financial reportings to talk about because Steven, you ain't got nothing else to say about that GameCube game, right?
All right, let's let's stop for a second, okay? Because you're trying to skip over Sunshine.
Huh?
Say
What you
what?
talking about? That ain't no
Oh
sunshine.
my God,
You
Sunshine,
talking
where is
about
it?
like
Listen,
slipping out there in the streets and stuff over some dumb
Zard.
old paint.
Listen, Zard has some weird like hate fetish towards Mario Sunshine. He just does not like it for some reason.
No, there's a
It
reason
is
why the community is
eh,
split 50-50. You don't see
the
this stuff where
community.
you don't see
I'm not
that
no
stuff.
Zard. I'm not shut up about the community. I'm not talking about the community. I'm talking about you. Okay, like don't talk about yourself as a representative of the community. That's fucking stupid. Okay. Fact of the matter is, you don't like Sunshine. And that's fine if you don't like Sunshine, but it's still one of the biggest games on the GameCube. It is part of the 3D Mario series, which is part of some of the most revered games of all time. And despite all its flaws, it's still got a ton of unique ideas, a ton of unique characters. I did a ton of stuff for the franchise, and it's still a pretty fun game to play. It's you could be playing a lot worse. Like, it's a little janky for a Mario game,
I
but a
wouldn't say
little
a little
janky.
janky. Shoot,
Okay,
every
yes.
time I pull up that timeline, Mario's over here dying for something
Okay,
like that. Look, there was that one mission where you had to
okay.
clean up all of the paint.
Is your opinion completely decided by Twitter? It's just pissing me off a little bit.
No, no,
Well, I'm
no,
talking your
no,
personal
no, no.
experience
I was
when
about
you
to say
played the
when
game.
I played the game either broke on me, glitched on me, did something weird like 3 to 5 times. I never experienced that ever in any other 3D Mario game. Period. And it's kind of hard for me to kind of run into
What,
glitches. Like
just
most
like
people have to actually like
I don't know.
intentionally find them. I was just running into them just like
Like
that. I was like, you have got to be
yeah,
kidding me. There was like
there's
that
the
one where it's like the chain chomp was pulling you or something like that, or you have to chase him off or like corner him or something like that. One of those missions, I got like soft lock and it just killed me. I was like, you have got to be
trust me.
kidding me. The other one was like the lily, where it's like you're kind of moving stuff like left or right or whatever, though, and trying to get down the stream and you can collect the red coins along the way or whatever, though.
Yeah.
Got instantly locked out of that one. I was trying to jump over a little thing on like the little bloopers or whatever you're trying to ride on,
Yeah.
and then the
It's
sunshine little thing pops up. It's like, all right, you just got to easily hop off of that thing, and nope, it said I barely even touched the edge of the cliff of the little pier. Boom, I'm dead. And then this plays
yeah.
that little bad old honky old music where it's just like da 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 da. I was like, man, I really started to hate that jingle so much while playing this game.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Sunshine's a little rough around the edges, but the fact of the matter is it still has a ton of redeeming qualities and like a lot of stuff it does right. It's certainly a weird Mario game. Like it's the weirder one out of all of them. I can see why they kind of didn't do sandbox again for a little while
It makes
because they
perfect
want
sense now. I understand why it took us so long to get Odyssey now.
yeah,
Oh man.
Sunshine's a little rough around the edges, but it does so much right. I really love Flood as a concept. Like Mario, for all intents and purposes, controls fine, like on the ground, but in the air is where he struggles. And then Flood definitely makes traversing in that game feel very satisfying. The different nozzles adds a lot of stuff you could do with the level design, and I really like the tropical vibe of the game, at least in the context of it.
Now,
Like
now the vibe is good. I won't knock it for
Yeah,
the vibe
I
and the
love.
music and stuff and just like
Yeah,
the scenery and stuff. The game looks good.
yeah,
Don't get me wrong on that. It's just all the
like
gameplay for
yeah,
me.
yeah. The vibes, the music, the scenery. Love it about Sunshine. The voice acting, a little hit or miss. I love Bowser's
I kind
voice
of forget
though,
about there's
and
voice acting in that
and
game
I
too.
love how unique and wacky the game is. It gave us PD Piranha, gave us Gooper Blooper, gave us a ton of unique, weird characters. It gave us Bowser Jr. You love Bowser Jr. I know that for a fact. Okay, like it is a big game. It's like I don't know, compared to all the Mario games, it's like an 8 out of 10 next to like 9 out of 10s and 10 out of 10s. But it's still like
More
a
like
great
six
game.
out of ten, but okay.
For me it's an 8 out of 10. Whatever. Fact of the matter is, it's not a game that you could just it's still one of the bigger GameCube games. Can't just ignore its existence. Okay, it's not nearly as bad as you like to pretend it is. Oh, people on Twitter fucking overhate on Sunshine. I'm not gonna listen to the I'm not gonna listen to the mob on Twitter when I can literally just play it myself. It has the occasional weird physics slip up. Maybe I'll clip through a platform once or twice, but
Once or
it's really
twice.
not that. Yeah, it's really not that bad, all things considered. It's
Stupid
like it's kind
watermelon
of
mission.
that watermelon mission is not even broken. Nothing's wrong. It's not the game glitching out. That mission is just stupid.
It's stupid. You
It,
got some stupid mess up in that mess. I
well,
saw
it's most.
somebody.
It's because the
Um,
watermelon's sensitive. It's
I
not,
know.
and
I happened
and
to
that's how
also
it's
see
supposed
like
to
a
be.
clip of there was like one part where it's like you're on the beach or whatever though, the beach resort, and you clean up all this paint or whatever though, and then like he
Yes,
almost got all of it, and he got like barely electrocuted. And I think he had like two slivers of health left, so he should have. I felt like he should have lived because he probably would only have one. It did the whole animation thing where it's like the whole beach was clean. It popped up the sunshine sprite where all he had
and
to
then
do
he
is
still
run and get
died
it.
in
And
the yeah.
then immediately, I was like, "Oh, dog!
Well, because
I'll be fit to be tired."
he died at the same time. He was still like bouncing. It was like bouncing on the lava basically. Just because the cutscene plays, you're still bouncing on lava. It's definitely a little rough around the edges, but like it's still one of the fucking best GameCube games. I
Oh,
am so
I can
surprised it
name
took
out
this.
10 better ones in that game, but okay.
The GameCube had a lot of good games. Top 10 is still one of the best. Either way, I'm surprised it didn't come earlier. I think the only Coliseum is left, and then
And then
everything they
anything
announced
else
is
after
done.
that, it's like, all right, you can do whatever you want.
Mario
I still
Party, please.
Mario Party, I think for sure we'll get something Mario Party related, probably around the holiday time. I want to see Double Dash because man, we'll have some sessions playing that game. Oh man, I
I
want to
would
see
love it
that.
too.
Another one I think I would like to see. I'm trying to think. Well, if I'm thinking first party, Super Mario, the baseball sport one. I want to see that.
Yeah, baseball, Mario Golf Toadstool Tour, and Mario Power Tennis are also some of the
Power
best
tennis
Mario
would be
sports
good too.
games. Fucking what's the name of the game?
I know some people.
Pikmin 1 and 2,
Pikmin 1 and
Metroid
2,
Prime
some
1
Metroid
and
Prime.
2.
That's the other one I was about to say.
Yeah, was specifically Metroid Prime 2 because Metroid Prime 1 is already covered, but
I
I'd be
want to see
fine with
Star
both.
Fox Assault.
Star
Put
Fox
the good
Assault
Star Fox.
definitely.
Don't put no adventures up on there. Put Star Fox Assault.
They'll still put adventures. They've been doing a lot
Doggone
of
it,
rare.
Nintendo. You put adventures on there before Assault. Gosh
They've been
dang.
putting a lot of rare games. I'm sure they'll just do it. Fact of the matter is, like, I'm sure they're gonna do all the games you don't care about. Wario World was one of the first games we got, and that was one of the last games I expected.
Sure was.
Smash Melee is never coming though.
Oh,
That's like
Smash
a
Brothers. I mean, that's a given, but like,
for
I
some
don't know.
I don't know. It might be coming to N64 soon. There was that one leak of a bunch of games. It included
Yeah,
like
we'll have to
Rayman
get it on the
2, this and
64
that.
first before you get it on the GameCube. But that
Well,
is true.
that's what I'm saying. But Smash 64 would be one of the last games you could possibly do for N64 because Donkey Kong 64 just came. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
I severely hope so. Honestly, like I hope we get the Smash games. There's no reason why I can't just boot up my Switch and play some Smash Melee. Like I would prefer that. Like I'm not really the biggest fan of Melee, but like you know, if I could play it in the comfort of my own home without having to get the GameCube set up, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
You know, besides that, please do more NSO updates, Nintendo. Like, I want the service. Every time you update the service, slowly gets a little bit better. and they haven't increased the price yet. So like until they do, this is just free shit.
Yep. All right. Well, outside of that, that's going to be pretty much it on that small little news topic. And beyond that, wait, hold up. Oh, hit the wrong button. All right. Then next up, we did manage to get some new financial fiscal reporting stuff from Nintendo. And like all things, I always like to report on the numbers. We ain't reporting like Switch 1 related stuff no more. We're just only really doing like the Switch 2 related stuff though. And as I'm scrolling through my little list to try to pull up these numbers, because I don't ever have all of that stuff memorized. There's quite a bit of stuff. But like all things, they should have like that updated list and stuff in terms of the games, which is still kind of weird because we can't even do like quite yet a top 10 because there's not that many first party Nintendo games that came out yet where we can actually say, hey, this is all a top 10 thing. But here we go. All right. So, yeah, there's really basically top 6 now if you want to call it this, though. But at 6th spot, you have Super Mario Party Jamboree, the Switch 2 edition at 1.15 million. You have Kirby Air Riders at 1.9.
That's
Dang,
pretty good, all things considered.
yeah,
No,
it's not gonna get no higher than 3. Pokemon
wow.
Pokopia at 3.68, not bad. Pokemon
Wait,
Legends.
no, wait. No, Pokopia is higher.
Well, it. Oh, okay. This one I'm reading. There's an asterisk.
Remember, this is
Japan
outdated.
sales
We
are
haven't
not
done an
included
episode in a
for
while.
Pokopia. There's a different tweet. I had to re-update that number.
5
So
million.
put an asterisk. Yeah, it was like 5
5
something.
million. I'm looking at it right now.
Okay, so that would technically put it at number 2, really.
Yes.
Pokemon Legends ZA Switch 2 edition would technically be at 4th at that point at 3.99 million. Donkey Kong Bonanza will be at 3rd at that point with 4.78 million. We figured out Pokemon Pokopia is really at 5 point something. And
So
then
that makes sense.
Mario Kart World is at 15.39. That's kind of where we at with all of the game sales. And then the Switch 2 hardware is sitting at 23.68 million units.
Seems like it's doing comfortably for them. There's not really your big heavy hitters out though. Like for example, when Winds and Waves releases, it's gonna explode. Obviously. Like Winds and Waves releases, people are gonna be going crazy for Pokemon. The system's gonna sell hotcakes. But Nintendo's definitely playing the slow start here. It's like, okay, get the system out, put out some smaller games, still have 1 or 2 big games every occasional year. Starting with Mario Kart definitely gave them good leverage. Most Nintendo systems take a year or 2 to get Mario Kart. You got to remember that.
Yep, that's true. Because outside of Mario Kart, your big 3D Zelda, your big 3D Mario, your Smash Brothers, your Animal Crossing, the new I say new upcoming, but your growing your growing Splatoon series and stuff like that. All of those series and franchises hadn't had their big major seller yet. And then
I think
even
Smash is being announced next year.
yeah, so none of those have managed to come out, and all of those, and your Pokemon, obviously, your new generation, all of those have not managed to come out yet with their games, and all of those are big, heavy system seller games. So when those ones come out, that's always going to keep pushing that hardware, one step further.
Fact of the matter is, Nintendo is going to be doing perfectly fine because, like, there's a ton of franchises that are due for new games. Paper Mario has to be coming soon. Last game was 2024, and it wasn't even a full game at that. Gonna get a WarioWare game sometime soon. New Mario Party probably next year. You know, Pikmin. I'm sure we'll get another Pikmin game at least announced soon, even if it doesn't come for a while. Or we'll get a Switch 2 edition, because Pikmin 4 did really good, all things considered. 3D Mario is definitely the closest. Like, 3D Mario has to be coming soon. Like, it's like the
I
only
would
game
still
that I could
say
see
I have a
Nintendo
good
getting out.
feeling at this point in the game. I think next year is the year because
I think
our other
I
boy
think
Kyle,
3D
he
Mario.
was thinking this year at first, like way back when, like towards the beginning of the
Listen,
year. But I'm like now I feel pretty good. It could easily be next year. I
I
think
think
now
3D
might be the time.
Mario is coming out first half of next year. Okay? Because Nintendo's going to do more financial reports after the holidays, and I'm sure they want a big title to already be announced on the horizon, okay? This isn't like last year, where last year they announced fucking Mario Tennis and they announced Fire Emblem. But it was fine because I forget what it was, but there was a big game, like, kind of still in the horizon. And then Winds and Waves was revealed earlier this year, so people still had stuff to look forward to. And then, Xenoblade Genesis is also coming next year. So we got Xenoblade Genesis coming. 3D Mario is definitely on the chopping block. Probably going to release in like May or June, because that way they could announce it in this coming September direct. Still give Ocarina of Time a huge time slot of its own, and then still have an upcoming game. They probably don't even have to do a direct in the beginning of the year. They could just do some hype stuff for Mario instead. That gives them a bunch of time to work with. Xenoblade Genesis is coming. Luigi's Mansion is absolutely coming. I don't see any way that Luigi's Mansion isn't already almost done. It's been 7 years since Luigi's Mansion 3. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, Paper Mario, Mario Party. I guess Animal Crossing is one of the only big ones that I can't really see coming soon. It just got a
No,
Switch
it
2
just got a
edition.
Switch 2 edition. That
But
I don't
then,
know why, but the Animal Crossings they're always in like the later
yeah,
part, like mid to the second half of Systems Live is when those tend to
yeah.
like to drop.
And then Smash Bros. I think is being announced next year, and I think it's coming out
Probably the following year because if you have
probably
a
2028.
Xenoblade game and a Mario game and a Pokemon game, at that point that's too much. I think you would save Smash Brothers for a
Well,
following year. I don't think they will put Smash with Mario and
no,
Pokemon all
they
in the same
they
year. That
won't.
would be way too much.
I also don't think they're putting Mario too close to Pokemon, but I think Mario is coming out next year, so I think it would only make sense to do Mario as like your
Yeah,
big
between
game
them
right
two,
before the
you're
summer.
good. Those are two super megaton hitters. The
Yeah.
super megaton here, yeah, I can't even talk. The super megaton sellers, no more than two of those in any given year. Like you got to spread that mess out.
Well, yeah, especially
So
because the new
obviously
mainline
you
Zelda.
wouldn't have like a Mario as like what we had with Ocarina, not Ocarina of Time, Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey. You
Yeah,
had those two, but you didn't have no more than just those two in that
and I
2017. That would have
because
been
I think that
crazy to
would
put
be
Smash in
fine
there.
because that would be fine because that means Nintendo's finally getting their heavy hitters out of the way, and 3 years into the life. Think about it like this: let's just say next year we get 3D Mario and we get Pokemon, okay? And then the year after that, I could see 2028. I definitely think Smash will at least be announced and like coming soon by then. And then I think the next mainline Zelda game will be ready. Tears of the Kingdom was 2023, and those Switch 2 editions, I don't think were handled by them. They were probably handled by a different studio, just porting it over. They didn't add any new content, really. So, yeah. And then, after that, Splatoon.
Yep. So I think
Maybe,
that
maybe, I don't know, like it's coming. I think Splatoon you might be able to mix in there because I don't know, Splatoon, they've definitely been working on it since Splatoon 3 was over. I don't think Raiders took that much time. It's like a spin-off.
yeah. So I think
But like,
between all of that, I think Nintendo they know exactly what they're doing.
yeah,
And
in
pretty
terms of
much they're gonna
financials,
they're gonna follow pretty much the stuff that we've been kind of spitballing and throwing around, like your mega ton hitters. You're only gonna put like two of those in the calendar year or whatever. Though, like they're pacing themselves out because they know you have to ain't like a short race. You're running 100 meters and calling it in. Like this is a marathon. The Switch One lasted for how many years? Like 8 years.
yeah.
So a little
And
longer
like,
than the traditional six. Who knows how long the Switch 2 will last before they even think about what would be a successor for that. So you got to pace yourself with some of this stuff. A lot of people
yeah,
are going to
and
be impatient because they always like that one particular series, but you got to think you're serving the masses on this one, so not everything's gonna come to your own liking at the time that you want it. But when it does
yeah.
come, you'll enjoy it.
And technically, Nintendo's been following that the first 2 years as well. For example, 2025, Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza. 2026, say what you want, Pocopia and Ocarina of Time
Yep.
are pretty big releases. So yeah, they've been following that. Even 2024, You had Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, which I feel like they definitely count as a big game. And there was something else 2024. I don't know, I guess Mario Party. I don't know. Uh, Either way, like the fact of the matter is, Nintendo's been pretty good with spacing out their release as well. I'm sure there will be a Switch 2 edition mixed in with all of this, but I don't think Nintendo has anything to worry about. Once these big games start getting out in the open, or at least announced, like for example, Winds and Waves being announced already is like just makes me more comfortable being a Switch 2 owner because it's like, oh shit, that's a big game that's coming and looks good. Like, just being able to say, holy shit, big game is on the horizon without like speculation, coming into the equation is nice. That's why I just want them to announce the fucking 3D Mario. Just announce it.
But don't announce it too early because I don't like the Sony release where it's like you announce it and you gotta wait 2 whole years.
The difference is that Nintendo will show gameplay.
That is true, unless you're like Ocarina of Time.
Unless you're Ocarina of Time is a fucking remake.
I know, I know. So they can kind of
know
get
what to
away with that one a little. But that one's running on a weirdly different time schedule. I don't know. They're doing something weird with that one. But outside of that one, generally speaking, yes, you're right. Like when they show Genesis or whatever, though, they show gameplay on that one.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that one's probably a summer release for next year. But
And they've been doing a good job sprinkling in small games between all of this. Mario Tennis Fever, Tomodachi Life, Yoshi, Star Fox, Splatoon Raiders, and Fortune's Weave, all kind of mixed up between all this.
yeah.
And then Nintendo Switch Sports Resort might be a sleeper console seller. They're doing a bundle. I don't think it's in here. We're going to talk about a different bundle later. But there is a Switch Sports bundle coming.
Oh, I didn't even have that technically.
Once the price increase happens, they're doing a Mario Kart World bundle, which saves you $30, and a Switch Sports bundle that I think saves you $20. And they have 3
so
months
that
of
one,
NSO.
because the Mario Kart World one is like $530.
Yeah.
No, not $530. I'm sorry,
like,
$550. The Switch Sports Resort one is $530. Effectively, if you got the Switch Sports Resort one, it's gonna save you effectively about
I guess 30 because the physical edition is gonna be 60. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And
So
then
like
the other
$30
one
for
obviously
both.
saves $30 for both, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. So like it's fine enough. I'll say that. You know what I mean? Like it's. I don't really have much to say about those bundles besides like Nintendo is obviously showing that they still want to do deals even though they're doing price increases.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure Nintendo really didn't want to increase the price. They want to stay ahead of Sony and Xbox. But I don't know. I don't think the sales have been slowing down even because of the price increase.
Yeah, no, sure hadn't.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Besides that, I guess that was all I wanted to say about the financials. It was kind of like a little bit of a speculation thing because I'm sure that for Nintendo's financials are going to change. I think there's going to direct by the next time that we sit here and we sit for a podcast. I think a direct will have already aired by the time we're here again.
There's a chance. I mean,
I think so. It's going to be right.
I say that I say the odds of that happen is like at a 60%, because there's a good chance it could happen on the week of September 17th, and that would be like the in between week of our podcast episodes.
It could.
So I don't know. It's gonna be weird.
It would make sense to happen before Tokyo Game Show. Whether it's a partner,
shoot! I'm trying to think.
Whether it's this, whether it's that. Tokyo Game Show is like the week right after. It is like the week of the 17th.
Okay. So it's the 16th through the 21st, and I feel like if history says anything, they usually always like to do it before that. So, it would literally be. I'm looking in August.
Listen, Fortune's Weave comes out on the 17th. There's going to be an Ask the Developer for it on the 15th. Orbitals comes out the first week of September. There's really no other spot where it fits in well.
It would have to be literally.
It would have to be September 10th.
Or the 10th. 10th at the latest, really.
September 10th would make sense.
Yeah, because Game Show actually starts on the 16th. And at that point, at Tokyo Game Show, they're probably showing off the Ocarina of Time remake at that point. So Honestly, yeah, that very well could be the case. Yeah.
I think it's gonna happen, and I
Oh,
think
that'd be
Nintendo is
crazy if the
gonna
direct
pull out all
actually
the
does
stops.
happen on the if it does happen on the 10th, that would be the episode or the next podcast episode will air. So that'd be perfect timing if that be the case.
I
And we will see. We will see.
I think that would be really funny, personally. Yeah.
We will see.
Well, we will see how it works. Yeah. Either way, please, Nintendo, give me something good to eat.
And if you don't, I don't care. Someone's pulling down your underwear. All right. Anyway,
That is all.
that is all on that one. The last little bit of subquest I had up on here was Pokemon Bank is going to be officially shutting down. It's going on ice. Ice got that mess. Yes, unfortunately, for every Pokemon from generations, even generations 1 and 2, because that was on the 3DS Virtual Console, all the way up, Gen 3 onward, all the way up to Gen 7, by the time February rolls around of next year, shortly before Pokemon Day, they're killing it off. There's just going to be absolutely no way to transfer up your Pokemon anymore. So you got your shinies, you got your Pokemon with your ribbons and stuff up on there, or any other Pokemon that's kind of weird that you can't really get in the modern day game right now, like Spinda for some reason, because it doesn't work in Brilliant Diamond, Shaman Pearl. Why that's the case, I don't know. Something with its dumb patterns. Regardless of whatever the case it happens to be, you better start transferring your stuff up. So at least for me personally, I was trying to go through and capture like every dragon Pokemon in a beast ball. Why? I just like the challenge. I kind of like the ball, whatever though. I've been doing that in my Ultra Sun file or whatever though, or my Sun file. And I got a good way there. I got all the way up through Gen 4. Started to work on with the Gen 5 mon. So now I'm on the I'm racing against the clock. I can still do it within modern games, but getting beast balls and like Scarlet and Violet is like extremely hard. It's not the
It
easiest like
sucks.
roulette, and even then you're only gonna get 1 or 2. Whereas in those games you can buy them and then for sure use them because they already have a low capture rate anyway. But
Yeah.
no, it really does suck.
This sucks, but it was inevitable. Like, they weren't gonna keep it on forever. They kept it on a couple years after this. After,
The
anyways.
3DS shut down
Yeah.
its online services. But yeah.
I do have a mission. I'm gonna get a Pokemon from Gen 3 and get it all the way up to Gen 9. I don't know which Pokemon yet, but I'm gonna choose one that's special to me. Probably gonna be like Rayquaza. I have a Rayquaza that I got in Gen 3 that I might want to bring up.
Oh, an Emerald?
Yeah. Because I have Emerald, I got Platinum, I got Black too, and then I got Sun. I got Ultra Sun. I think I just have X, and then from there I can get it up. Either way, I think the fans will definitely figure out how to get Pokemon Bank working again, but I don't think they're gonna be able to get. You're not gonna be able to transfer onto home.
Oh dear, no, because at that point it'd
I
be like
think they're
almost
just gonna
straight. That'd be
remove
almost straight up cheating. So like
unless
they
you could
probably
simulate a bank connectivity, because I don't know how it works necessarily. Does it like connect to the internet to
like
do
home
it?
connects up to the internet and then bank connects up because those are just basically online hubs or whatever though.
Yeah.
So it's like oh yeah, because like when you're communicating with your 3DS to the basically the Switch, you're just basically saying hey, I got keys to my bank and here's the key lock to home. Put
Yeah.
that key into that. So yeah, maybe
So
they can get bank to work within your native Gen 6 and 7 games. So if you need the extra bit of storage, it might work somehow within the homeroom community or whatever though. But getting that to work from transferring whatever you will have in those to home, no, that's probably
I
gonna be
guess
completely shut down.
it's kind of annoying because at least for that, like there are some Pokemon that are just gonna kind of be locked in certain generations. Like Gen 5 cannot transfer up without Poke Transporter and Pokemon
Yeah,
Bank.
but at least with 3, 4, and 5, that's still gonna be a readily
Yeah,
available thing because it's all physical. Like you're doing it between your actual native hardware. It's
this is why
just
physical gaming is better.
unfortunately Gen 6 is going to be on its own island and Gen 7 will be on its own island.
Yeah, I think they'll definitely be able to find a way to get Gen 6 to Gen 7 at least working. Like, either way, you could always just use some kind of, like, editing tool and put the exact same Pokemon in
Yeah,
to
but then
the other
you
one.
rip out the soul. But
Yeah, I guess you rip out the... The easier solution is just Nintendo putting all of these games on the Switch.
Which, speaking of which, I didn't necessarily have it as a topic on here, and it might be the last time we can throw it out here before
Yeah,
if a direct
it gets
happens
it's
next
gonna get
week,
announced.
or not next week, but next time we have an episode. Um, rumor has it stuff is starting to float around that more Pokemon games could be coming to the Switch that are retro, similar to Fire Red and Leaf Green, where they might put out Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. If they do that, I'm gonna be genuinely hyped through the moon, because then I'm gonna be really amped up to be like, I'm really want to go through and complete the Gen 3 Pokedex, at least to the best of my ability, because there's certain Pokemon, obviously like the Gen 3 Pokemon, obviously you have to get those in that game. But there's other Johto Pokemon that I'm not unable to obtain in Fire Red and Leaf Green that you have to kind of use like Pokemon Emerald and get those out of the Safari or whatever. Because I want to do a full living, breeding, Gen 3 living dex or whatever, though, because that's like one of the hardest challenges you can do in terms of like a national dex for, a certain game in a certain gen. Like getting those first three, really tough because the Johto ones make it really rough. But no, that's my hope and dream. So if they do that, I'll be really excited to do that and to be able to run through Gen 3 all over again. And this time maybe I can get the Battle Frontier run for his money, because now I know exactly what I'm doing. So we will see. We will see.
Yeah, I'm hoping it has connectivity between Fire Red and Leaf Green and Ruby Sapphire Emerald. Like that's the main thing, because then I'm pretty sure you theoretically should be able to complete the Pokedex, like the national Pokedex in Ruby Sapphire Emerald, because you'll have all the Gen 1 and all the Gen 2.
The only bad thing is, I think, well, you won't be able to, like, I don't think you're able to fully hold on to all the Pokemon from Gen 1 through 3 in one single game, because you'll max out your PC boxes. So you have to kind of do like a stupid amount of trading back and forth.
But like you can get the
But
Dex done.
but basically you can get the decks done. It'll be a little annoying with how much trading you have to do, but it is possible. Yes,
Yeah.
almost. They're sticking the muds. Like for example, Jirachi,
Sure.
Celebi,
Simple.
stuff like that.
Simple. If you have save data in one of the GameCube games on NSO, it will give it to you. Just do that.
They'll need to do something like that, kind of like how they just, when you beat the Elite Four in Fire Red and Leaf Green, they just gave you the tickets for Deoxys, Lugia, and Ho-Oh and all of that. They'll need to do something like that.
It doesn't hurt anybody if you do that, and I think people would be fine with that, because that's just kind of just like a native solution. Doesn't require any stupid save data nonsense. I would be fine with that, personally. And you want to know the sad thing? I think this is real. I think it's going to be announced at the end of the Pokemon World Championships coming up soon.
It's
Like,
either that or sometimes they will announce certain things if it's not like super major or whatever, though. They can do that in the Nintendo Direct, but
we'll see.
it kind of depends.
I don't know.
Because
They could
normally
even just
sometimes they
shadow
will
drop the
have, but
announcement.
sometimes they will usually have Pokemon Presents in the month of August. Because sometimes they like to do two in a given year. So if it's two, it's usually February and August. And August is about over, and we
maybe.
never got one. So that's why I'm thinking they might just go ahead and announce at the Nintendo Direct. But we will see. We will see.
However they do it, I think it's real. I think they're gonna do Ruby and Sapphire first, and then Emerald's gonna
I'm
come.
gonna hate if they do that. It makes
I'm
sense
gonna
for
hate
them to
it
do
too.
it,
It's
but because
gay.
Emerald is the
It's-
one that has all the content that everybody loves. And if they
Emer-
did only
Emerald is
Ruby
the
and
definitive
Sapphire
one.
first, and I'm like, oh dang, it's like, well,
It's kind of, I don't know. I would prefer if they do Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald. If they do
because if
Ruby,
they
Sapphire,
do all
and
three,
Emerald,
everybody
I'm
and
gonna
their
buy
mama
Emerald.
knows most people are gonna just go ahead and get Emerald because it's gonna have the the most bang for your buck out of it. It has the Battle Frontier and everything else up in it, though. You really only would be getting one or the other for like Ruby or Sapphire if you're just trying to like get all the starters within yourself or whatever. So
Well, that's what I'm
if you're
saying.
picking
They
two
sell.
versions, then it's like, okay, I can see myself picking up Ruby and then Emerald or something like that. But yeah,
That's sadly how it is. They're gonna have people are gonna buy Ruby and Sapphire, and then a couple of however long later they'll release Emerald, and then they'll buy that up too.
yeah, I
There'll
don't
be
know, but we
people
will
that buy
see.
all of them. Either way, yeah, like that. Hopefully, they release all these games on NSO. It sucks that Pokemon Bank is shutting down, but I'll definitely do what I have to do before it's down. Like they gave us a little bit of notice. I think it's on Pokemon Day. It's shutting down next year.
Yeah. So not too much longer. So if you got your Pokemon, train them up, do what you got to do. Get your ribbons, get your shinies, catch them, whatever. Transfer that mess up. Better be on the front end versus the back end. Thank goodness I got my living decks already 100% it done at this point, though. It's just some things I'm trying to do for the form decks of certain Pokemon that I'm trying to work through right now. But we'll see on all of that. But anyway, yeah, just kind of keep all of that in mind. All right, with all of that said, that's all of the subquests done. So now we'll jump on over to the last major segment of the show, that being all of these main missions. All righty, Stevens. Now we can talk about the last little bit of D23 news, because Disney, they weren't playing around. They weren't pulling their punches in the slightest bit. Because yes, it is time to talk about some Kingdom Hearts 4. Now, before I even talk about the details of Kingdom Hearts 4, let's just go ahead and get this elephant out of the room. This game's coming out next year. They said there's no delay in it. It's coming out next year. And I was like, oh, shit. I was like, all righty. That makes sense why now we saw so much info at the very tail end, near the very tail end of the Nintendo Direct, and why we got to see all that Kingdom Hearts 4 footage back then. Because they knew good and well that we were getting the game next year. It makes sense now. And so this is like our next, or basically our second best good look at it beyond like the original one way back when, eons ago, all those years ago. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. In some of this footage right here, they did confirm there was one brand new world that we managed to get from the world of Coco. And people been kind of vibing with it. It has like a nice little aesthetic, vibe and feel and stuff like that. I did like the movie. So I think that world should work pretty well. And then they also showed off characters like, like Mickey, Donald, and Goofy. And for the first time ever, you're actually able to just like straight up play as them versus them just being mostly like your sidekicks in any of the other previous Kingdom Hearts games. So people are kind of going crazy over that stuff along with a few other things. But those are like pretty much the most noteworthy things that you kind of saw out of this trailer right here. So everybody's kind of excited and hyped through the moon. They did like developer or like, like round tables where they kind of were just going through and talking about the game and such like that. That's how we got the news of it is coming out next year, and there's not going to be any delays. Like, things are progressing smoothly enough for them and where they got the game right now, where they feel pretty confident on that regard. So I was like, okay, I feel good about this. 2027 is going to be a stupid wild year of releases. That might, when it's all said and done, it might rival 2017. And 2017 was a wild year, though, too. But this one might be shaping up to be a really good year. But what do you got to say on Kingdom Hearts 4?
Especially 3D Mario is also out next year. It's going to be a crazy year. But I'll say this. Games looking cool, like especially the stuff they showed. 2027, I'll be surprised if it actually sticks to that. Like, I know that we've heard nothing in years, but I don't know, man. Kingdom Hearts 3 got delayed the hell and back. Like, I know that they haven't really done as many spin-offs as they usually do.
Yeah, the only one that we had between 3 and 4 was not Chain of Memories.
It was the
Melody of Memories. That's what I meant to say. But that's the only one.
I can't see the actual team working on that. That had to have been someone else that did it. It's like a rhythm game. It doesn't even play like Kingdom Hearts. Either way, game looks good. They showed like the little Mickey sections where you're like inside of a book, and like it had like the paper aesthetic, which was giving me Paper Mario vibes, but I think it looked unique. I guess you're gonna play as Donald and Goofy in some sections.
Yep.
So there's a couple different play styles. I don't exactly know how they're all gonna fit into each other, obviously. Maybe it's gonna be like a Birth by Sleep thing where there's multiple different campaigns. I don't know. And then obviously, I don't really like how Sora looks in this game. I think he looks way too generic. Personally, like I prefer how he looked in 2 and 3. Even 3 still didn't really look the best. Like his hair should be more spiky. Honestly, he just looks better with the spiky hair and the bigger shoes and the big pants. He's a Disney character. Let him be fucking wacky. Either way, like, everything else about the game looks good. They showed the Coco world. which I think is a good choice. Out of all the Pixar movies you could have chose, out of all the Disney stuff, especially from recent memory, Coco's one of the better ones.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably the best thing that for them to choose. And honestly, I'm still leaning on that hope that more than likely not in some of the other worlds, since Disney has evolved quite a bit since even since like Kingdom Hearts 3 or whatever though. I have a feeling they are gonna do a Star Wars world, and they probably will do something Marvel. And with either one of those two, who knows where they will put them in one of those two different universes though. But yeah,
Star Wars will make sense, honestly, considering the first trailer kind of showed a forest area that looks a lot like somewhere in Star Wars.
mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've ever seen the original trilogy of Star Wars movies, but they'll definitely just do Return of the Jedi, which is like the one where Luke fights Darth Vader, and like it's like the ending of the original series. Out of all the movies, it would make the most sense to do Return to the Jedi. And Marvel, I don't know. I guess would they just do Avengers 1?
They probably would. They would want to do one that had enough heroes and not just like one solo hero. So yeah, Avengers 1 would probably be just a good enough, you know, standing ground on it.
Enough to where it's not confusing. I don't know.
Yeah,
You can
because
have
imagine if they do a Kingdom Hearts 5 in the future, then they just kind of move on to the next Avengers movie where they add in a few more characters or something like that. Kind of like how you had like with Lion King or something like that from like
yeah.
Kingdom Hearts 1 to 2 or whatever. So I'm
Also,
expecting something like that.
also because it would be relatively entertaining to see Loki like talking with some of those stupid fucking Organization 13 members about darkness and whatever.
Oh golly.
Because Loki over there trying to act like he's all edgy and evil when we know he's just a big softy. He's a little guy. He's just trying to hang out.
Yeah.
It would be interesting. And then like I just the battle in New York. Well, I don't know. The only thing that makes me think they won't do it is the New York setting, considering they already have like a Tokyo City as one of the Quadratum place is like the place they've been showing in every trailer. Maybe they'll do a different setting. Maybe that would make a little bit more sense. I just can't think of any other movie that would make a lot of sense to do if they do a Marvel one. Maybe Age of Ultron. I don't know. Still kind of a city. I will. They'll pick something. I just think Infinity War is way too much going on.
Oh yeah, no, that'll take them a while. Like it'll be in whatever comes after Kingdom Hearts 4 if that were the case. Maybe even not even 5, maybe 6 or something like that. But they'll have to
Yeah,
consistently
I
keep
think
bringing up that world.
I think something Marvel will be in it. I don't know what, but something Marvel. Maybe even just Spider-Man. Maybe they'll do a whole just a Spider-Man world, and it will be based off of one of the older Spider-Man movies, or like maybe just like Far From Home.
Hmm.
I'm just saying, like they could kind of do anything, honestly. I think Kingdom Hearts definitely has one of the more interesting situations in terms of a franchise because like they very clearly do collabs with like mostly Disney stuff, but they like integrate it into the game and sometimes into the story, and like it's like a whole world in the game. So like there's a lot of unique ideas. Like even the Coco one that they showed. Did you see those graphics? It almost looked like it was from the fucking movie when I first saw it.
Oh yeah, no, it looks really clean,
They do a good
extremely
job of
clean.
recreating the style and like the highly detailed models. It looks good though. Did you have anything else you wanted to say about it? Because like I don't know, they didn't really show that much, but the stuff they showed was pretty important.
No, yeah, that was pretty much all I wanted to say on Kingdom Hearts 4. Obviously, the next time they show it will probably be a different world. They'll mostly show off though, but no, the game looks promising, and no, yeah, it's pretty solid. It's pretty solid. I can't really complain. I really like the fact that we can control Mickey, Donald, and Goofy all individually now. It's not just as supportive or whatever though. So I do like that. But yeah, I think outside of that, that's pretty much all I wanted to say on the Kingdom Hearts 4 related stuff. So next up on the list, I did manage to get some Fire Emblem Fortunes Weave. Holy shoot. Yes, it's time to wake up, ladies and gents. Yes, we had the direct. It wasn't the direct y'all might have been expecting, but gosh dang it was the direct for me, baby. Because oh my gosh, this game is cooking. And when they say they cooking, they cooking. I like the promotional stuff that they've been able to do all the way up until this point. Like even tonight, on this night that we're recording this podcast, we kind of have or we had a feeling, and now it's actually confirmed. Obviously, this game is basically has strong parallels, or it's like sequel, prequel, whatever you want to call it, to the events that happen within Three Houses, because Sothis is in both these games or whatnot, though. So they even dropped out like music and stuff on the Nintendo app or whatever for Fire Emblem Three Houses. So I've been kind of jamming out with some of those tunes up on that thing, because that game has a killer soundtrack, though. But regardless to say, no, they're pushing the Fire Emblem agenda quite well within this Nintendo Direct, though. And I think the biggest thing I was able to pull from this Direct was the fact that the whole thing with your protagonist characters, like usually when you choose the male or the female and a lot of your RPGs or something like that at the start of the game, for the longest time in all the marketing material, I always thought, oh, this is gonna like pull back to the roots of like Fire Emblem 7, where you got to play as like Lynn, Hector, and Eliwood and stuff within those old GBA games. Like you had multiple different protagonists and you played them during certain periods of time, right? That's what I was thinking between these four main protagonists, the two women and the two dudes or whatever, though. But that's far from the case. You do have an actual customizable protagonist. You start the game off with them. Some bad things happen. Now you're going back in the past and reliving the stories of these four and trying to, direct their fates and stuff like that to where they have a better outcome, so that can lead you back to the current day or where your protagonists are at and then pick up from there. So really, there's not one, not two, not three, not four routes. There's technically 5 and technically a 6. And the 6th one is basically being, hey, there's one route where you could take all the 4 characters that you played in the past and then run with them, have allies with them, and try to get the better ending that way. Or they said something about the wording, how you said you can solo it and do it yourself. If that's the case, there's technically 6 routes that you can play through this game. And I also saw some I guess some not interviews, I guess reports from people that got to go hands on with some of these things. And some people ran through 2 of the routes already. I don't know how long Nintendo allowed these people to play it, though. But they said something about how it took 20 hours to clear like 2 of the characters' routes. If I do all the math and put all of them together, we might be looking easily at an 80+ hour game. It would be 100 by the time you include the protagonist one. Maybe a little bit more than that if your main protagonist has 2 main split paths or whatever, though. So we're getting in Persona 5 Royal lengths of time for a strategy RPG. I'm like, oh shoot, because to beat a 120-hour game like Persona 5 Royal for me personally took me 2 whole months. So I know I got at least that long to look at and play Fire Emblem Fortune's Read. So I'm like, I'm all here for it. I needed to get a drink of water. I rambled for quite a bit of time, but what are you about to say, Steven?
I already put my pre-order down, which I was not expecting. Okay, I thought, oh my god, $80 for a Fire Emblem game is fucking absurd, because it is. But I got it for 70, so I don't really care. I got the physical for 70. I'm not getting digital games, especially for a game like this. But also, like, it looks like it's going to be the most ambitious Fire Emblem to date. I looked at a lot of the previews, kind of informed my decision. It looks cool. It looks so much better than what I just played of Engage. I needed to wash the shit out of my mouth with a good Fire Emblem game. And in about 3 weeks. There you go. Exactly 3 weeks from now, Fortune's Week will be out. And like, that game is looking cool. Everything I've seen of that game looks pretty cool, honestly. And like, there's how many playable characters. They actually look like Fire Emblem designs this time. It looks like they're doing some interesting gameplay stuff, like a little bit more turn-based elements. Like they're adding more RPG to the strategy RPG. They're adding kind of like I guess Engage had a world map, but this game's also doing something involving that. There's a lot of interesting stuff that I've seen that they're doing. A lot of the world building seems interesting, that this is like a world where like gods live among humans. And there's like a whole pantheon. Reminds me of like the Greek pantheon or whatever. They've been slowly revealing characters in Nintendo today. And then obviously the biggest interesting factor to me is that this is I think a prequel to Fortune's Weave. Could be a sequel.
I think it's a prequel, weirdly enough, even though you kind of think about it, it's like, well, Sothis was basically like younger in Three Houses, so you would think that would happen first, and you would think the events in this game will happen later. However, if you remembered about how Sothis was talking about herself, and you know the way how her body operated with the bones and the weapons that were made from it, and more the fact that Sothis was mostly speaking to Violet via thoughts in his mind or whatever, though it makes sense, despite how young she looks in that game, where that game would have happened later and this game would have happened before. It kind of makes
Well,
sense
yeah,
in that
her.
regard, though, because remember she also has like some children or whatever, though. So I'm
I'm
like,
gonna
it
say
makes
her
sense
original.
her looking like this and having children. But yeah,
This is like her original, like true form. Like this is what she's
yes,
supposed to look like. In Three Houses is like her weakened or like a reborn form, however you want to look at it. It's like the form that she takes when like speaking to Byleth and whatever. It's weird. But like this game, the form that she takes is how she looked in the past. So this game is either a prequel or it is a sequel way in the future when she's grown back up again. Or this is just how, maybe she just always presents herself as an adult to everyone else except Byleth. I don't know, man. Either way, the fact that Sothis is here, the fact that Sedith is here. Did you see Sedith? They showed off Sedith from Three Houses in this game.
in like the Nintendo Today app.
No, just in one of the screenshots. Like Sedith from Three Houses from the church is just in this game with a different hair color.
I
It's
don't,
him.
I don't think I saw that.
No,
Or,
it's yeah, but it is literally him.
hmm.
I don't know where his sister is. Either way, it's going to be very interesting. This game has a lot of stuff that is just interesting to me. It has a big kingdom. It's technically connected to Fodlan from Three Houses. I don't know if we're gonna go there. Seems like there's a lot of areas to go to. Seems like it's got a lot of effort, like production value put into it. The game looks so much nicer than Three Houses visually. It is 30 FPS, but honestly, as long as it runs at a consistent 30 FPS,
Oh,
fine.
I wasn't looking that closely. Yeah, different color hair threw me off because otherwise I wouldn't think twice about it.
Yeah, but it is Seth. It is literally him. Either way, like this game looks like a real Fire Emblem game. I just recently played Engage, so I might be more inclined to like this after playing the shit heap that I just witnessed. But this game's looking good. And then the main character, I think their name is Eshmel, I
Yep.
think is like the default name. In the direct, they didn't confirm that they're customizable completely, but they are.
Yeah, not fully in the direct itself, but then once we started getting the Nintendo Today news, then yes, that's when we
Because
started to
yeah,
really see it.
I seen people complaining like, "Oh my god, you have all these colored characters, and then the quote unquote true protagonist is a white guy," and then people immediately shut their mouths once they realized you can customize them.
Yeah, I mean, and even the promotional material, like they weren't purely white; they were kind of mixed-ish.
Yeah,
But yeah, so it was kind of weird. But anyway, though, I do like the animations, how good graphically speaking this game is. Even though I think the game is still only running at 30 FPS, but like visually speaking, it has like the bones of Engage, which the only one of the few things that was good about that game was just the way how most of those cutscenes ran, or just how fluid the animations are. Like even looking at the animations when they have like the little talking conversations between one unit to another, and like their little avatar thing that's in the bottom left corner of the screen, like how fluidly it will move in certain moments. I'm like, oh yeah, stuff like that, like the little tiny bits of attention to detail right there is just the things I really like to see out of this game, though. And I really like in the combat and such. They actually managed to introduce like a couple of new classes and stuff like that. Even one that kind of rides on like big old, like almost like elephant like things or whatever, though. I was like, what the freak? But yeah, no, they're bringing some different, unique twists and stuff in terms of the way how you can go with your combats and stuff. And shoot, even a class that literally wields a stinking gun. Like, what the freak? But man, I'm all here for this game. And it might take me a good long hot minute for me like 100% the game, because the way how they got they did confirm that unlike Three Houses, where it's like you were locked into that one route, you have to play it from start to finish, and including like replaying the first half of the game just to get to the unique stuff for the second half. No, you can mix and balance and go back and forth. So it's like you can get a quarter or a halfway through one of the protagonist's stories, pop out, and immediately start up someone else's. Like, you can do that. So ideally, I probably would want to go through and finish all 4 of the heroes before even trying to, see what happens with Ishmael later on in the game. No, I probably will go about that way, which means it's going to be a really long Fire Emblem game, because that would mean 80 hours before you even get to what would be like the second half of the game, which is kind of crazy when you think about it from that regard. But it's not like it's required. Like, if you just want to get in, get out, you can just pick one person and immediately go into Ishmael's part afterward, and it'd probably be like a 40-hour experience at that point. But yeah.
I guess the most satisfying way you could play it is do Ishmael, do one of the characters completely, then do some more Ishmael, then do another character completely, rinse and repeat. I don't know. You could do it like that.
Well, I don't know if it will let you go back and forth, like it'll let you go back and forth with all of the other past members, but I'm thinking once you get to actual like the second half, where it's like you helped out the characters in the past, now you're trying to deal with the stuff that's going on in the present. I don't know if it'll let you go back to the past at that point, or you have to at least 100% one of the past heroes before then it will give you the option. All right, now you can actually do the present. I don't know if it'll let you go back and do that as well. We won't know about that until we get our hands on the game. It'd be nice just to have the option for like future playthroughs or whatever, but we'll see.
Either way, game's looking great, honestly. I just, like, I didn't expect to be as excited for it as I am, but yeah, it's looking good.
Yeah, so I'm all here for it. We don't have to wait too much longer now, because I'm trying to remember exactly when the game comes out. It's basically in the middle of September. I'm trying to get all the way back to the September 17th. So when that game comes out, that is literally, I'm pulling up my calendar now. It's literally 3 weeks from today. 3 weeks from today, that game will be in my hands. Unfortunately, it'll be like fortunately, unfortunately, will be in the in-between weeks of the podcast going on. So I don't have to sacrifice part of my day, because once I get that game in my hands, it's a dumb wrap. I know Wolverine comes out like 2 days earlier, but I'm probably going to shelve that game and put all my time towards Fire Emblem, because this is going to honestly probably be one of my games of the year, maybe up there with Ocarina of Time, but this still might personally be my game of the year, because I just been waiting on it. Nintendo's been feeding me good in the Switch 2 so far. Donkey Kong Bonanza 1 year, I got this the next year, I got Xenoblade Genesis to look forward to next year. Oh, I'm loving it. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I can gush and say about Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave for now. Unless, Steven, you had any other last lingering thoughts.
No, I think that's all. It looks good. I definitely got them. Definitely we've been spending a lot of time on the other ones, but like I really don't have that much to say because we're 2 weeks away from the game.
3.
We're really not that far. No, 3. Sorry. 2 weeks away from the direct. 3 weeks away from this game. But next week, who knows what we'll be talking about, but we'll be right around the corner on this game. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think there's going to be much more besides some more Nintendo Today stuff. Those characters they've been showing off on Nintendo Today look pretty cool, though. Everyone that's watching this, keep an eye out.
Oh, yeah, for sure. All right, well, that's pretty much it in terms of all the stuff I wanted to say on the Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave Direct. So now we're going to twist it on over to another little bit of Nintendo news, because, it's not official. But I've been looking at this stuff, and I'm like, something about it. Something about it. It got a little twang. It got a little, not necessarily bitter, but not necessarily sweet. But it has like that little bit of like little saltiness up in there. It's like, you usually be taking things with a grain of salt. But like this one, it's like, oh, it be tasting really salty, like questionably salty. And yes, I'm referring to the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, quote unquote rumor leaks, whatever you want to call it, because somebody's been going around and showcasing off like a picture of a Nintendo Switch 2 Pro controller that looks like it's kind of like themed for that Ocarina of Time stuff. Because typically when it comes to Zelda games, you have some kind of piece of hardware, sometimes a limited edition with the console or whatever though that happens to go
Yeah.
out. So somebody actually managed to take like a picture of like basically the box art or what would have been for a Switch 2 Pro controller, and just looking at it with all the gold and stuff that's on the front plate. There's a little bit of green and stuff that's on the right grip, and if you were to flip the controller around, there's like some 2D pixel art of like Link from the original Legend of Zelda game on the NES or whatever. Though looking at it, it does kind of add up to where I'm on the side of the fence where I'm like, I'm thinking it's more than likely true
I
to
think this
some
is
level
real.
or degree, because typically I would never bring these up. I would never mention them, tweet about them, unless I was just jokingly tweeting about them. But for sure, bring them up in a video or in a podcast, unless I ran it through my little check and verification thing where I feel like I can somewhat confidently talk about something. Like it's passing enough checks where I feel pretty good about mentioning this. At least with the Pro controller, I will say that much.
Well, I feel like they were all released at the same time. I think all of them are real. I personally think that this is real, especially because Ocarina of Time is going to be a system seller. They're probably going to get this out either right after the holidays or right before. Okay? Like, I think this is a very clear, like, early November game to get it out before GTA 6 type of deal, you know?
Yeah.
I think they're about to announce this game and be like it's coming out like November 12th or something. But like I think that this game I think that these controllers are real because they're just the right amount of weird for it to make sense. Especially because Tears of the Kingdom got a very similar leak and that ended up being real. Um, the Pro controller is weird because it's like one of the handles is dark green, one of them's just a regular black, and then one of the sticks has gold on the inside. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's just the right amount of Nintendo weirdness for it to be real. Like
I
it's
kind of wish the
it's
whole controller was like not like
gold.
all solid gold, but like I had a fusion like what they kind of had with that front cover of like the mix of gold and black or whatever. But I think the green will kind of grow on me at least a little bit though. Maybe it looks a little bit better,
Yeah,
obviously in person or something like that.
it
But yeah,
it might look better in person, but like I don't know, the Pro controller is like a maybe. Maybe I'll get it.
no,
I'm
I for
not
sure
really
will
a
get it because
oh,
I have every single regular Pro controller that was limited edition on the Switch One. I kind of bled that over into the Switch Two, including me getting the Resident Evil not I was about to say Village Resident Evil
Requiem.
9 Requiem controller. So yeah, now this will be my go-to controller. Obviously, they come out with this because this will be like the most vibrant colors that we gotten on the Switch 2. And I know some people are looking around at those the mock-ups for what would it be like the Joy Cons or whatever though. And I'm like, dang, I was like, those look good too. If they were to sell those separately, I actually might pick up a second set of Joy Cons for Switch 2 because I only have the one set. So like imagine if there was like a game like an Arms or something where you gotta have like a second set of Joy Cons, and if they were like you need them for Switch 2 or something like that, then I'm like I don't quite have anything quite like that yet. But I don't know. We will see on that. But then I also started looking at the dock. And I was like, ooh, I kind of want that dock too. If that's actually true. Like I would really want that dock, but I'm like I'm looking around like I already got two dogs. I don't really need a third one. But dang, that gold. Something about that gold and black. This look kind of good. Mm.
I'm personally not too much of a fan of the dock per se, but like I think the Joy Cons look fine. I like the little Triforce on one of them, and the other one looks alright. I think this is 100% real. Like I looked at the box and stuff more, the leaked box. Like everything lines up. The screenshots are very clear. Like they didn't like put it in a blur. People people looked at it. It's not AI generated or anything. Like I think this is real.
Hmm.
I hope it's real. Like Nintendo doing a bundle for this game would be cool. These would be the first Joy-Cons that aren't just completely black on the outside with colors popping on the inside. They've been doing really lame Joy-Con releases.
Yeah, so I think these ones with at least a little hint of extra gold, and especially with the green, I think that's what a lot of people be looking at in terms of the Joy-Con colors, and you probably get like a lot of wave of people getting them if you were smart enough to actually release them individually and not have it like completely locked behind like, oh, you got to buy a whole new system to get these or whatever. So we will see. Because yeah, I'm not a super big fan of the colorways they've been doing. Because with it only being like the part that will go inside the Switch 2 and underneath the joystick, if you always have it docked, there really ain't no reason to get a new pair because they don't look that aesthetically different while they're attached to the system. So I don't know. We will see, and hopefully our answers or questions will be answered by the time we have the next episode. And it also makes me think, well, if they're doing all of this stuff, you think there's going to be like an actual like limited edition for the game too? I mean, we always had a limited edition for most major 3D Zelda games if they're brand new. So like you had ones for Breath of the
I
Wild, you
don't think
had ones
so.
for Tears of the Kingdom, but with it being on the scale of this and not like a 3DS like remaster or whatever, like a full blown remake for a 3D Zelda game and not just any 3D Zelda, an Ocarina of Time, do you think they'll hit us with that limited edition?
No, actually, I
Hmm.
don't think so. I
If
don't
they
know.
do hit me with it, I'm getting it. But if
I
not,
think we'll
we'll
get an
see.
amiibo line. I think we'll get an amiibo line.
There's a chance.
I think we'll just get whatever the redesigned Link is, updated Ocarina Link, updated Zelda, and who knows, maybe a nice Ganondorf. I think we'll just get our Triforce trifecta, especially because it seems like they're really focusing on the Triforce again. Which, yes, I know sounds stupid, but the Zelda franchise has not focused on the Triforce in a while. I don't even think the Triforce appears in Tears of the Kingdom.
No.
Like it's quite literally never explicitly named or anything. Like apparently a subtle glowing Triforce is still on Zelda's hand, but like still, it's like still hardly actually mentioned in the recent games, which is weird considering like how important it is in a lot of the other games. I don't know, man. It's weird.
Hmm. Yeah, it is gonna be weird.
I guess yeah. I was looking at it in fucking Echoes of Wisdom. They never call it the Triforce. They call it the Prime Energy. It's literally the Triforce, like you can see it in that game, and it's literally the Triforce, but they call it the Prime Energy. I don't know. That's weird. Okay. Either way, little tangent, but like Ocarina of Time remake, hopefully we'll get news soon, and hopefully this will be revealed alongside it. And I like the whole Triforce thing they got going on with all of this stuff. Might get the Pro controller.
Yeah, so at least here's hoping we'll get some kind of good news. Hopefully within the next couple of weeks, where they say, "Hey, we got some extra goodies to go along with this mess, though." Because I think, in terms of when this is going to release, I'm still feeling pretty confident it'll be probably like what you said, a week before GTA 6 comes out. I don't plan on many games coming out in the month of November because of GTA 6. It's really going to be Legends of Ocarina of Time and GTA 6. I don't think much of any other like bigger high quality games are going to come out in November. At that point, everybody's trying to shove out their games in September and October. Those 2 months are going to get a little crazy, but outside of that, I'm really looking forward to this. I'm hoping that we get some little bit of color for either the Joy Cons, especially, and definitely that Switch 2 Pro controller because I'm getting that mess all on day one. Limited editions too. All right, so with that out of the way, now we're down to the very last bit of news for my main mission topics. And yes, Grand Theft Auto 6. People have been waiting for this baby forever. And now we finally got our first good look and an extended look that actually happened to air out first on Netflix. Now, I know a lot of people kind of feeling like, what the heck? Why in the world did they do that on Netflix first? Let it air there for about a whole 6 hours. So, like, for me, I'm in the Central Standard Time. So they dropped that trailer at 2 o'clock today in the afternoon. And it wasn't until 8 o'clock where it's like, all right, now we're going to finally put it on our YouTube channel. You can watch it that way. But I guess chalk it up to, Rockstar and how much money this game is going to make, where they are doing some, unique things. Not just only the fact that they're putting the game out on retailers, even though it's a code in the box. They'll let you pick that up a week before the game comes out, just so you can, get the code, register on your system, download the game, so that way you're ready on, the midnight launch and whatnot. Not only are they doing weird and unprecedented things for stuff like that, but the fact that they're also willing to team up with Netflix, get a bag from them, and be like, "Hey, you pay us that amount of money, we'll give you that first good look and give you exclusive rights to it for a period of time." Before then, we had to throw it up on YouTube. So it was interesting seeing how they made that decision and stuff. How did that make you feel, Steven, seeing them actually go out and say, "Hey, it ain't the norm, but we're GTA 6, so we're shaking things up, and we're gonna shake out your wallets while we're at it though too. This ain't no ain't no party. It's a shakedown." And for them to put it out on Netflix, like, how did that make you feel?
It's stupid. I don't really think there's a debate. Like, it's dumb. The fact that like they really thought that they could gouge money out of people to see GTA 6 slightly earlier. The fact it also came to YouTube like 6 hours later is just proof that they could, like, they didn't care. They just wanted extra money. They knew that they could make extra money out of people doing it. This is just a publicity stunt. And like, I don't know, it worked. It sadly did work. I think this is crazy that they did this. Like, imagine if a Nintendo Direct was exclusive to like Prime Video. Imagine how stupid that would be.
Yeah,
I don't
no,
know. It's like, yeah, there's a lot of people that have it, but it's still not right. Like, oh, it's just news.
yeah, because I
Half of
was.
the people uploaded it anyways.
Oh yeah, there were some people out there that were like live streaming, live reacting to it when it was, I guess, first shown off on Netflix or whatever. But I guess they kind of worked out their system or their setup or whatever. They were able to actually get some of the gameplay and footage and stuff and not be stopped by like the VRM or whatever though. But ugh,
Yeah,
people do
it's
anything.
stupid. Like, they're doing a lot of weird stuff. No physical release obviously is stupid. The fact that paying $100 just because it adds a couple stores to the game, like the fact they're even locking content behind. This game has taken how many years to finish, and you're still locking content behind DLC content that's done already. Yeah, it's dumb that we're just paying. It's basically a $100 game at this point. It's gonna push the industry in a bad direction. In terms of the actual game, like, I don't have too much to say about it because I don't know. It looks like Grand Theft Auto 5, but it looks nicer, and there's like more stuff to do. But like, GTA is a pretty simple franchise. You go around shooting people, and you steal cars, and you do driving. Fact of the matter is, yeah, there are some little mini games you might do in between, where there's little, there's action sequences, car chases, this and that. But like, the main story will be going to places and watching cutscenes and moving around. And like, they showed some story cutscenes. It really started with one big story look, and then kind of moved into the gameplay. And there was a ton of little side activities they were doing in between. And like, they all, they're probably not going to be too advanced, but the fact that, like, like, it does look like a giant game. It looks super immersive. Like, the city itself looks great. The game is beautiful. It's 30 FPS, which is a whole conversation in of itself. The fact there's not even going to be a performance mode. But like, the game looks beautiful. And like I don't know, I'm sure it will be good, but it's just not the type of game I can get excited for. I don't know if I'm gonna get it day one. Anything you're gonna say about it? Zard? Hello? Zard? Well, while he's gone, I guess I'll just say a couple more things about it. I don't know.
Oh no,
There's a
no,
couple.
something
Oh,
popped up,
oh,
but yeah.
okay.
What was the last thing
It
you
would.
said? Because I had to step away for a moment. What was it?
I was saying that there was a ton of unique little gameplay mechanics they showed. It looks like it's gonna be a big game, and it looks like it's gonna be cool and all, but it's just not the type of game I can get excited for or by day one. It's I don't know. I just need to see what I'm going up against before I get it.
And it's kind of weird because when I look at a game like Grand Theft Auto 6, normally like I dabble with GTA 5 and I dabble with a couple of the other ones in the past, way back when or whatever though. But those, I don't know, something about it. I was like, I was never really clicking with it. Maybe it's because I just wasn't actively also playing the hardware in other games associated around that time. So like me playing the PS4, with other games that would have been besides a Grand Theft Auto 5 or whatever though, or same thing apply with San Andreas, Vice City, all of those other stuff. Maybe it'll be a little bit different now that I've been playing the PS5 and a whole bunch of other games that will be all associated on that console besides GTA 6. But then also seeing the capabilities of what this game is able to do in terms of like the open world aspect, all of the various different activities and stuff that you're actually able to see and do in the game that just besides just the main mission, because the main missions they said it's going to take about 80 hours or something to do if you're just doing just one after the other. Whereas, hey, if you so that's basically $80 game or whatever. That's $1 for every. You're paying $1 for basically every gameplay hour you're gonna get just out of the main story. Let alone if you wind up doing any of the other side content, and then that's where the time really starts to add up. And then in terms of the activities, you can do everything from like mini golfing, kayaking, gym work,
Yeah,
parachute jumping, going to the
just because a
zoo and stuff
game.
like that. And it was cool seeing how you can race cars, not just like the traditional way on the streets, but you can do like motorbikes and stuff like that though too. I'm like, huh, okay, okay.
And like all that looks cool, but like just because a game has a ton to do doesn't mean that it's all that interesting to do that ton. Like it, I don't know. Like it, I'm sure the
I
game
always
will
do
be
like
interesting,
games that have
but
like a
like
different change of pace though, because it's like, for
yeah,
example,
I
when
don't
I
know.
was playing Fire Emblem Three Houses and stuff, like you can do the same strategy game over and over and over, but you kind of want to break it up every now and then
Yeah,
though. So you'll do a
but
little bit of
like,
fishing, you do a little bit of singing, whatever though.
but
So I
yeah,
imagine that's what people sometimes kind of do with these activities time to time.
the amount of money that a game costs will never correlate to the amount of hours. That's a stupid thing to try to correlate that because every game is different. The fact of the matter is, GTA 6 is a base price of $80 because Mario Kart World got away with it. It's that simple. Okay? It would have been a set. Maybe this would have been the first $80 game, but they
It
were a
would have been the
lot more
first one.
well,
Yeah.
they were a lot more comfortable doing this. They were a lot more comfortable charging 80 after Mario Kart already put
Slash
60 down the
100 if
road,
you want everything.
which is dumb. I don't think there's any defending that. I don't think $100 is justifiable, especially they haven't even GTA 6 isn't even going to have online like the online yet that is commonly associated with the series nowadays. Like I think that's coming later, and then that's gonna have its own microtransactions. Who knows expansions? This game's gonna be a whole goddamn investment for people. I don't know. Like I guess a lot of boring people that only play GTA will love this game to bits. I'm probably gonna thoroughly enjoy it if I ever play it, but like I just can't find myself excited for it. The extended look did show a lot more. Like it showed a decent amount. Finally got some actual gameplay. The world itself looks really interesting. And like visually it looks nice.
Mm-hmm.
But like I don't know, like we're really hitting like a visual plateau. Like
I
it
think
looks
this
just
might be the nicest that it's probably ever going to get. And it's kind of crazy because I started hearing some stuff about, like, Rockstar and the way how they make their games and stuff like that. They have like a certain group of people or studio that just work purely on just on the NPCs because there's just that much level of
yeah.
details and stuff like that. Because I mean, you see how big this city is and how the scope and size and stuff like
Oh
that. You
yeah.
can't just have the same type of people all over and over and over and over with as many people as you should be interacting with in this game. So it definitely does feel like we took like a slice of our regular world and crammed it all into a game. It's kind of how it feels, though. It's kind of
Yeah.
miraculous, though, but it kind of makes sense why this game is stupidly expensive because you can kind of see it just in this small little bit of 30 minutes right here. I don't know. Maybe it's that little bit that makes the game be a little bit more attractive to me. Where normally I wouldn't necessarily agree with half the stuff you're actually doing up in this game though, but it's a fantasy, whatever. It's not real or
Yeah.
whatever though. So I don't know. So that part of me is kind of speaking to me. It's like, okay, you know what? It's like, quick, get in the car. We got to get these cops and stuff. You're shooting at you switching back, and I'll do like the play back and forth between the male and the female that you're able to go back and forth as, and
Yeah, I like
you get to
that.
switch back and forth. I know there was a little bit of switching back and forth that you're able to do in GTA 5, but I heard it actually took people, or it took a little longer to process switching back and forth. But this one, because you're dealing with solid state drives and stuff like that, it's almost seamless.
Yeah, it all looks really interesting. Like, yeah, I've seen someone say online seamless. It is not seamless. It's close, but like I don't know, there's still a seam. It's the exact same thing. If you ever play GTA 5, it's literally the exact same thing. Just maybe less load times. It goes up in the sky, moves over to the other character, zooms back in. Like it still takes about like 3 seconds, but that's nothing. It's like not a big deal. I don't know. I do think it's interesting to keep going the multiple playable characters route. That keeps things interesting. Now you got a guy and a girl. Bonnie and Clyde situation, little couple. Which there's a lot of interesting mechanics. I'm pretty sure there's a mechanic where basically, like, yeah, there's like a relationship mechanic where depending on how well you treat the other character, things will change.
That's kind of crazy because I know somebody out there is going to be like, all right, I'm going to play as the woman. I'm going to have that woman be in like other relationships and cheat with
Well, I
with
don't think
whoever.
that's gonna be possible.
I don't know if it would be, but it just kind of makes you think it's like someone's going to try it or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I don't know. People are gonna treat the female character Lucia better than they treat their own goddamn girlfriends.
That's crazy.
They will. Either way, like I don't know. The game looks good and all. Like that's what I'll say. I think showing it on Netflix was fucking stupid. I think not doing it physical is fucking stupid. But the game itself looks good. I don't know. I personally, even if the game looks cool and all, I would still like to see it fail just to show the industry a lesson. It's not gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know. Like I really hope this game is finished. Like they're saying it's not even finished yet. Who knows if it's gonna be a buggy mess on launch and they're just showing us nice looking footage. Like who knows? I don't want the industry to take all the wrong ideas from this. That you can charge $100 for a game, and as long as it looks nice, that's fine.
Yeah, so hopefully that's not necessarily the case though. But obviously, we got a date for this game. It is still going to be coming out in the month of November in the middle.
For
So
now,
ain't no more delays, thankfully.
I don't know about that. They didn't 100% confirm that.
Well, they've been saying it at least for the past 2 or 3 instances now, so it's like higher chance now, higher chance. But can't fully say nothing until you got that game in your hands, or at least maybe that you know box with a code in the box in your hand. But we'll see. But anyway, I think that might be all I wanted to say on GTA 6. Everything looked promising. I'm excited. I'm actually probably am going to pick this game up now, probably with Ocarina of Time. Now, look, if they release that close to each other, emphasis on Ocarina of Time until I probably finish that, then I really will start to crack into this. I might dabble back and forth between both, but I still want to finish Ocarina of Time first because I know this one's going to take a real long time for me to go through. But overall, I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it. So we'll see whatever the next time Rockstar wants to show off anything else within this game, though. They'll probably just be kind of sporadic with it, though. All right. Well, Steven, with all of that being said, that's basically going to do it in terms of... Ooh, wrong little button there. I haven't hit the wrong one. What the heck? But that's basically going to do it in terms of everything I had planned for the show notes from our ZardCast episode 128. This one ran a little bit longer than normal, about an extra half hour, though. But, hey, that's what you get when you miss the podcast for about 3.5 weeks or so. We had to play a little bit of catch-up right here, though. But
Yeah, a little bit.
not too bad. Not too bad of a show. Quite a bit to talk about, or at least to catch up on, though. So
Yeah.
it's been nice to kind of shove it all up together in one thing. I do apologize for not being super active on the channel. Hoping things will change because my life's been kind of busy, been a little tired. You know, sometimes you get home from work and you don't feel like doing much of anything, though. So it's been a while since I've been dropping regular videos, though. But I'm hoping that changes here fairly soon. You can kind of keep an eye on my socials because I'll let you know there first, more than likely not. Once I start to feel like I'm back to my normal spill of like when I want to consistently put out content and stuff like that, though. But at least the podcast, it's a little easier to kind of sit down and just to talk or whatever, though. Once I got all the setup stuff done, but that's just a quick little update on that, though. But Steven, let the fine people know where they can find you at.
You can find me on Twitter at Steven Jr. 1231. I make art sometimes, and I usually feature on a YouTube channel. Usually I stream with my friend Yoshinator on YouTube.
Alrighty. And with that being said, that's going to truly do it in terms of my ZardCast episode 128, though. So, yeah, if you happen to really like this podcast episode, make sure you're going to hit that like button. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date on all things video game related, pop culture related, Marvel news, anything else in between that we happen to be talking about. And yes, if you happen to be listening to this on one of my audio only platforms such as, you know, Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Music, yes, you can listen to me in the car as well. Just make sure to go ahead and leave a like on it, and just leave a little short review if it does allow you. Just let people know we're just a couple dudes that really love talking about gaming, pop culture related stuff, Marvel, and everything else in between, though. But yeah, that's truly going to do it in terms of this week's episode, though. So remember, y'all, until our video I make next, until my next ZardCast episode, that being my episode 129. I'll see y'all. Oh, wait, hold up. Well, before I say that, once again, thank y'all for allowing me to transition the show from Sunday nights to Thursday. So that's a whole wrap on the Thursday one. It's going to feel a little weird, you know, getting accustomed to have the shows go live on Thursdays, though. But hopefully y'all like it. Because now, instead of starting the week off with a podcast, now you got one actually, you know, carry over and listen to it on, you know, all the day on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So basically the whole weekend. So maybe it'll work out better for some of y'all like that. Who's to say, though? But once again, appreciate y'all being flexible with us and being able to, you know, listen to the pod at a different schedule, date, and time, though, and be able to enjoy it over the weekend, though. All right. With all of that being said, that's going to truly do it for my ZardCast episode 128. So until the next podcast episode, being my episode 129, I'll see y'all later.